race against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole, or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your flap. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are very, very important. Someday, many years from now, when you're a grown-up, you'll be a man. And when you are, you should be a gentleman. You want me to go through it one more time?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open for ladies. If a door's shut, then knock first. Don't burp, don't swear, don't speak with your mouth full, don't reach across people's plates, keep your elbows off the table.
What table?
And don't interrupt. While we're at it, don't stare, don't use foul language, don't call people names, but do remember people's names. Always share your toys, play nice, and cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze. On the bus, give up your seat to anyone who has trouble standing. Bottom line, treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
Hey, there he is. How's it going?
I'm having a stroke.
Are you going to shake my hand or what?
I'm having a stroke.
Wow, you're not even moving your arm.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you okay?
I'm having a stroke.
Your face looks weird too.
I'm having a stroke.
Are you having a seizure or something?
I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear.
I'm having a stroke.
You just need to know the sudden signs. Look for FAST, F-A-S-T, F, face drooping, A, arm weakness, or S, speech difficulty, then T, time. Time to call 911 immediately, because the sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment, and that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Know the sudden signs: face, arm, speech, time. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
The average time a resume spends on an HR manager's desk is 7 seconds, and most of them are tossed aside. Now imagine if one of those resumes belonged to Yasmin, who was
living in a shelter, juggling 3 jobs. I had to be resilient. That's something that you can't teach.
or if that resume was from someone who
worked 12-hour shifts at the recycling company with my dad, who's 72. That taught me a work ethic that I carry with me every day.
we rely so much on a resume, yet it could never tell the full story of someone.
Growing up where I did, a lot of things could have gotten in the way of my goals, but I learned to push through, and that's what I bring to work every day.
So maybe it's time we look beyond the resume and look to Grads of Life. Discover new ways to develop great talent that are so much more than what's on paper at gradsoflife.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Grads of Life and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Terry Crews. Actor, former football player, game show host, father of 5, and all-around big dude. I'm also an expert on drama. I know all kinds of drama. There's the good kind that comes with having a house full of kids. There's the bad kind like season-ending injuries. There's the necessary kind like having an agent in Hollywood. And there's silly drama like the drama around my percolating pectorals. And then there's the drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your high school diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org.
Or text diploma to 97779. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop to opt out. That's diploma to 97779. And leave the drama to actors like me.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge.
Got to get this all straightened out. Keep a little talking to, man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve. It's now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is you over 30 years ago.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And this is your mom when you drive her back from therapy.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
Roles change without us noticing. And in your new role, we help you help. AARP gives you the information to help care for your mom so that you can have patience with her, just like she did with you. Visit aarp.org/caregiving or call 1-877-333-5885 to get practical health and wellness tips to provide even better care for your loved one.
Are we there yet?
Remember, visit aarp.org/caregiving. AARP, we help you help. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Anthony Edwards says Michael Jordan was the only player of the past with skills. Dennis Schroeder, or Schroeder, I call him Schroeder, calls Kevin Durant weak. And the Knicks are unlikely to extend Julius Randle before the season. And much, much more on a new show of the Sports Loudhouse. Doc Rivers is going to have Damian Lillard run very fast out of town. Does he help them win? You're under 500. Aaron Judge helps the Yankees win. You're paying the player $300 million. You better be sure that that guy's going to help you get over the hump. For some reason, this guy is completely show of the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks. My co-host, Speedy Petey, the executive producer, Mr. Aaron Fishman, and our Sports Minute, Mr. Tommy Scoops. Remember, you can call us at 631-672-3108. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including The Loudmouth with me and Speedy Petey every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Speeder, what is up?
Well, I thought I was going to get in the middle of a flash flood that was in Connecticut all weekend long.
We did.
Yeah, I think you guys got it yesterday. We had it on Sunday.
Yesterday. We had it for the last 2 days.
You did have it the last 2 days. Yeah, there's actually still some parts of northern Connecticut, too, that are having to deal with it right now. But, yeah, it was tough. There was actually even a car that wiped out on the road where my parents' house is right at the end of it. So they closed one entrance of it off completely. Luckily, those two people in the car were able to get out. But
you shaved the beard?
I did shave the beard. I
had a Fu Manchu.
I had a dermatology appointment. I figure it would be worth it for that, so they can investigate.
So you needed to. The only way you were going to shave is because of your.
No, it was worth it for that. Yeah.
So it was all about the zits. That's all it was about. You were shaving the beard because of the zits.
Yeah.
Does he
It's a doctor appointment that I haven't had in 3 years.
Does he actually vacuum them out? He's never used like a vacuum machine to vacuum out those zits?
No.
I mean, that would be cool. I mean,
I had a wart.
What is that? The zit doctor on television? That's pretty funny.
I had a wart like a couple of years ago that they used the
a wart, huh? Where?
On
Where
my
was the
finger.
wart?
On my finger.
On your finger? Nowhere else, right?
Not that I know of. Hopefully not much
hopefully,
more. But they didn't detect anything. But I actually had to have like some kind of like cold shock thing on me.
Oh, I like that stuff. It feels so good, doesn't it?
No, it didn't.
Are you a chicken?
We have a different tolerance of pain.
Well, my tolerance of pain, as you can see with all the tattoos I have on me, it doesn't really bother me. Pain does not bother me.
Gotcha.
But you know what? A little, heat or a little bit of cold on my body doesn't hurt me either.
Fair enough.
But hey, you know what? Where'd you get the wart anyways?
It was on my index finger.
But how did you get it? Was it your dog?
I don't know.
Was it your dog?
It was accumulating. I didn't know.
Did he have some warts? Did your dog have warts?
Not that I know of.
So maybe you got it from your dog.
If it is, it's covered up in fur. You can't really see warts on a dog.
A wart cover up in fur. Very nice. Oh, Speedy, you are one interesting fella. At 9 o'clock, we'll be talking to former Packers, Bills, and Buccaneers defensive lineman Jarrell Worthy. He's been on our show before, played with Aaron Rodgers. Great personality. Really love Jarrell. I'm very happy to have him on. He's doing so many good things in the community, and we are definitely looking forward to getting him on the show. At 9:30, we'll be talking to former Orioles, Blue Jays, and Yankees pitcher. Our friend Josh Towers has been joining us. He's over there, if I'm not mistaken, in Vegas.
Yes, he's in Vegas, and he's actually he's working with he's doing a lot of drills with baseball players, youth baseball leagues. He's squeezing time in between two different demonstrations he has in batting cages today.
He's not playing t-ball or any of that stuff.
Not that I know of, but he's doing some demonstrations in batting cages.
He's actually swinging at to
Apparently, he's teaching them.
Isn't he a pitcher?
He was a pitcher, yes, but he's doing
he
fundamentals as well.
Is he a good hitter? I mean,
he did. Last year he showed us a wiffle ball field. It doesn't take that overnight.
He said he's really good at wiffle ball.
Yes, he did.
I was really good at wiffle ball when I was a child, and I knew how to throw a curve and a slider. I mean, it's so much easier throwing it with a wiffle ball than throwing it with a real baseball.
I'm sure he had about 15 different pitch combinations he could do.
You don't have to grab a seam. You just have to throw it the right way. Use different arm angles and different rotations on the wiffle ball to get the ball where you want it to go. And you don't even know where the ball is going most of the time. That's the best part of it. I mean, again, over the years, a lot of these pitchers didn't know where they were throwing the ball anyways.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? It worked for them. It doesn't work anymore. But why don't we get into it? Anthony Edwards told Wall Street Journal that he believes Michael Jordan is the only player from the past in the NBA and the NBA eras that had skills. He added that once Kobe Bryant started become dominant in the NBA, there were many players that had skills. He added that Michael Jordan's era was a few elite players playing against plumbers. That's what he said. He said they're like a few players playing like plumbers. A study of Atlantic shows that the average of the NBA player were 4 to 7% better than the 20th century. Edwards previously called himself the number one option on Team USA when he didn't even start. Fans also compared Edwards' playoff run to be like Michael Jordan's, which Edwards thought was ridiculous. Anthony Edwards is absolutely right. Now, I don't know if Anthony Edwards was the best option for Team USA basketball, but he's right about Michael Jordan. But again, he goes back. Anthony Edwards wasn't alive when Karl Malone was playing, or David Robinson was playing, or even Charles Barkley when he was at the top of his game. And if he was alive, he was a baby. So he really doesn't remember any of these guys when they played. I do remember Michael Jordan. I do remember Charles Barkley. I do remember David Robinson. I do remember Patrick Ewing and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and some of the great basketball players of that era. Do I believe Michael Jordan was the only player that had skills? No, I did not. A lot of these guys had skills. Were they Michael Jordan? No. I don't even think there are players right now in the league that are Michael Jordan-esque. Could you imagine Michael Jordan's skills in this game now today? I mean, he would be much more athletic. He was so athletic over then, and then could you imagine how athletic he would be now? With the game completely different. It's become more of an offensive game. The training is different now. These athletes have better facilities to work out and train and build their bodies up. It's a different game now. Michael Jordan would have been an absolutely different player, probably bigger, stronger. When you look at guys like LeBron James and you look at his body structure, that's the new style of basketball player the NBA is looking for. Are there guys the size of LeBron James? No. LeBron James is built like a tight end in the NFL. But that's the way the game is transitioning into. Now, Anthony Edwards had a lot to say about this. And I'm sure he had a lot to say about Steve Kerr. So does half the players, half the youngsters that were playing for Team USA. Hence the reason why Steve Kerr, after winning the gold medal, stepped down as the head coach of Team USA. And the reason why is LeBron James is gone. Kevin Durant is gone. Steph Curry is gone. These guys are not going to be in the next Olympics. They're going to be retired. They're going to be hanging out with their families, either being broadcasters, building their companies, their businesses. This is a different game now. You're going to have those Anthony Edwards. You're going to have the Tatums. You're going to have the Browns. You're going to have these type of players now to build your team. Maybe a Jalen Brunson in the future. It's a different game. The NBA is different. Now, he mentioned Kobe Bryant and his dominance in the NBA after Michael Jordan. He also said a lot of these players transitioned after Kobe Bryant with skills. Michael Jordan was the pinnacle of what the NBA transitioned to these days. A lot of these players, you mentioned Anthony Edwards. You look at Tatum. You look at Jaylen Brown. Look how great of a two-way player he is. Michael Jordan was one of the best two-way players in NBA history. Michael Jordan was over a 10-time first-team All-NBA defensive player. He was a first-team All-NBA offensive player. You look at Michael Jordan and what he did for the game of basketball internationally, nationally, what he brought to the Olympics in '92 will change everything for the NBA now and forever. And now you have guys like LeBron James and Kobe Bryant. And at one point, you had Timmy Duncan. Even though he was boring to play, he was a big face for the NBA. And the transition now to the Kevin Durants and the Steph Currys, and then when they're gone, the Anthony Edwards. The athletic ability of Wembanyama and what he's going to transition the game to. The big man. We're going to see these bigs actually shoot three-pointers now, which they have been over the last couple of years, transitioning their games. I mean, did you ever see Patrick Ewing shoot up a three? I mean, maybe once or twice. He wasn't a good three-point shooter. The bigs did not shoot threes. Now it's a different game. You have to be a three-point shooter if you're a 5 or you're a 4. If you don't have that game, it's never going to work in the NBA. Anthony Edwards had a lot to say. I read different things. I mean, Speedy gave me a little bit of a fill-in for the monologue. Missing some words, obviously, but nevertheless, Anthony Edwards is right about a lot of these different things. He is. He really is. To say that Michael Jordan was the only one with skills at that time, Larry Bird had a lot of skill. I don't know what Anthony Edwards was watching. Maybe he was washing. He was washing in his mother's womb because he wasn't even alive to see Larry Bird at the top of his game or Magic Johnson at the top of his game. It's a different world. It was a different world in the 80s. Isaiah Thomas really changed the point guard position. I mean, Anthony Edwards probably never got a chance to see Isaiah Thomas play. I mean, he's seen clips, but you never got a chance to see him play. Athletically gifted, can shoot all over the court, can get into the paint, dominate in the paint for a guy that was only like 6 foot. He's one of the guys that changed the game at the point guard position athletically. He won back-to-back championships with the Detroit Pistons, with Joe Dumars and Bill Laimbeer and Dennis Rodman. Again, we could go back and forth and go back and forth with some of these NBA players and what Steph Curry has said over the last couple of months, saying he's the greatest point guard to ever play the game. Or LeBron James coming out last year saying that he was going to retire, and then at the ESPY Awards saying that he's coming back, and that his wife went out there on the ESPY Awards saying he's the greatest basketball player to ever play this game. Now, you can argue that because he's going to have every single record, but that's all because of the longevity. The game is different now. Michael Jordan played 82 games a season because he knew everybody was coming to watch him play. When was the last time LeBron James played 82 games in a season? It's a different game. It is. Anywhere you slice it or you dice it, anybody that is a basketball fan out there, and there are a lot of them, and I'm a huge basketball fan, Anthony Edwards said some interesting things and said some stupid things. He's young. He's 22, 23 years old, still trying to find his way. He's the next leader of this Team USA team. You best believe it. If Team USA is going to be as good as they've been in the last, 16 years of, the Olympic basketball, he is going to play a big part on the developmental part of these youngsters, these up-and-coming United States basketball players. Because internationally, it's growing. Luka Doncic, Wembanyama, the Joker, all these guys. France is going to be good for many, many years. Canada is only getting better with Shai. It's become an international game now. You could argue whatever you want to argue. You can say whatever you want. Anthony Edwards, I would take a lot what Anthony Edwards saying, and I would take it and put it in a box. I agree. And take some of the stuff that he said and put it in a box. I disagree. Michael Jordan is absolutely the greatest basketball player ever to play. Probably had the most skills we've ever seen an NBA player have. And that includes Allen Iverson. And even guys that we mention in the league right now we don't like. And you know who I'm speaking about. You can have all the skills in the world, but if you can't put it together and win, it doesn't matter. And that goes for Anthony Edwards. He's with the Timberwolves. He just got a big contract. If he don't win, it's not going to make a difference. Allen Iverson said something very, very interesting recently in an interview. And he said, I do believe I'm one of the greatest two guards to ever play the game. But he said, you know what? I missed out on winning a championship. And because of that, you can't put me in the top 5. Allen Iverson said that. You have to win at least once. You have to do it before you declare yourself as one of the elite, one of the greatest players at your position, one of the greatest players to play in this game.
Yeah, you look at the statement that he said. I think part of it is true because I think you're looking at Wembanyama, Nikola Jokic, and maybe Luka Doncic, like those three international guys as prototypes maybe you did not see as much in the past.
Thank you, Michael Jordan.
Right. Nikola Jokic, the way he passes as a center, the craftiness that he has, the way he dribbles the ball, I don't think you ever saw that kind of thing with a center. Now, that doesn't say there aren't centers that weren't good passers. Tim Duncan, like you mentioned, Hakeem Olajuwon was a good passer. Like there were good centers that could pass the ball. But at the same time, Anthony, like there's plenty of players that transition in the game of unique prototypes. You mentioned Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson was the first of those big point guards. Like you would never see a Russell Westbrook or a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander without somebody like a Magic Johnson. Same kind of thing with Larry Bird. You wouldn't see the prototypes of Luka Doncic or Jason Tatum, these bigger guys that could shoot threes, Kevin Durant, without somebody like Larry Bird changing the game in that way. I'm not saying you're wrong, Anthony Edwards, on the fact that the identity was a little different. It was more position specific where these point guards had these skills, centers has these skills. It's a little more versatile today. That does not mean that you could say nobody else had skills besides Michael Jordan. There were other well-rounded players.
Every team had an elite player in that time. Every team. Houston had Olajuwon. Portland had Drexler. I mean, if you go up and down the league, every single one of those teams had an elite player. There are teams right now in the NBA that don't have elite players. They don't. Houston doesn't have an elite player, not yet.
The Nets have no good players.
The Nets don't even have any good players. I mean, we could go through teams right now in the NBA that you can argue don't have elite players. They don't. But you don't need elite players anymore to win championships. As we've proven that, the game is changed. Now, again, you can argue that statement too, because over the last couple of years, I mean, if you look at the Knicks, do they really have an elite player? I mean, Jalen Brunson's becoming that, but he's not an elite player yet. He's done it really 1.5 years. If he does it one more full year, we can argue that Jalen Brunson is an elite player. Now, do I think already that Jalen Brunson's an elite player? Yes, but other people would argue that because he hasn't done it long enough. And remember, he was a second-round draft pick, and the Knicks underpaid him to bring him here, and they're underpaid him for a second contract. So obviously, now he wants to win, and I do believe Jalen Brunson is quite capable of bringing a championship home for the New York Knicks. I still look at the Knicks. They don't have an elite player. So you're going up and down these rosters, and you're arguing, well, in the 90s, they were a bunch of plumbers. They played against a bunch of plumbers. Really? I mean, Phoenix, in those days, they had Jason Kidd. They had Stephon Marbury. These guys were elite players. I mean, that was in the 2000 era. You had Charles Barkley. You had Kevin Johnson. I mean, if you look at that time and you look at all these teams, San Antonio had David Robinson. If I go through all these rosters and these teams, every one of those teams had an elite player that changed their team or changed the dimension of their city. Did Dennis Rodman not change the dimension of Detroit and those bad boy Pistons? Everybody said Bill Laimbeer and Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas were the bad boys. No. You're right, Carl. The Bucks had no one in the 90s. I have to go back, but they had Ray Allen, didn't they? Wasn't
for
he
a little bit, yeah.
Ray Allen was in the 90s, wasn't he?
For like 2 years he was with the Bucks. That he was traded. So
I have to go back and look, but in the 90s, I think that was in the early 2000s. Actually, Ray Allen. Okay. So it wasn't the 90s, but I have to look. I got to go back and look at it. But most of the teams had elite players, or at least one elite player.
And Carlos mentions the Clippers. The Clippers were just dysfunctional mess until Steve
Well,
Ballmer
they
bought
weren't.
the
They
team.
when the Clippers weren't they built in the 90s? Weren't they?
Yeah,
an
they were the
expansion team
San
in
Diego
90s?
Conquistadors at the time.
They were an expansion team in the 90s. So I don't even look at the Clippers as one of those teams.
I mean, yeah, they were the exception to some of the rules where you had those like fast track expansion teams like Miami and the Hornets and teams like that.
I remember.
I
remember when they drafted. Wasn't Ola Candy or somebody that was their first round draft pick? One of their first round draft pick. Ola Candy was. I think he was a power forward or or center or something of that magnitude?
I don't know offhand, but I know, like, I think the reason he's saying that is probably because other teams got such a big uptick. Like Orlando had the finals run with Shaq. Miami had those great teams then. It just, okay, the Clippers were the exception to the rule at that time.
Thank
with
you,
all those
Carl.
fast ones.
And I'm just saying, for Anthony Edwards to come out and say that that most of these guys played against plumbers in the night, that's a lie. That's not true. That is not true. And I listen, Anthony Edwards is a great player. He has his own opinion. Dominique Wilkins, absolutely, with the Hawks. I mean, he has his own opinions, and he's young, and he doesn't obviously know the history of the NBA. But that doesn't take away his skill and how talented he is. He's fantastic. He really is. And he deserves a lot of credit of the developmental position that he has built for the NBA. And what is Anthony Edwards? Is he a 3? Is he a 2? He can play multiple positions. And that's the NBA now. If you want to be a great NBA player, you have to defend multiple positions. You have to play multiple positions if you want to be an elite player in this league. It's a different game now. It really is.
Yeah, and that's, I think, the difference with his statement, too, and like saying that there's no elite players, no skilled players in that time, which I think it's a little too extreme. Now, point guards did not have to like shoot as much as they do now. Centers did not have to pass as much as they do now or shoot as much as they do now. And I think that part of it, the versatility end of the game with those good teams, not even the teams that have just all elite players, the teams that were well-built good teams have that kind of thing. Take a mold like the Celtics. The Celtics have wings that could be 2s, 3s, and 4s. They have point guards that could easily play the 2 just based on height. Not necessarily based on skill, but based on height. And there's a kind of a height requirement for this kind of thing now as well, where maybe the NBA didn't have it that back then. And then maybe that's where he's coming out with the plumbers comment that they're all like weak guys, but like, it's still a silly comment because there were enough guys that were longer point guards still at that time. They just didn't shoot as well. So is shooting the only skill that the NBA needs? No, it's a big part, but it's not the only thing.
I remember Rolando Blackman. He was actually a pretty good player. And then he went to the Knicks and he sucked.
Yeah. Not the first time.
I mean, Rolando Blackman, when he came into the league, was pretty damn good. He was a good shooter. He really, he was a different type of player, different type of prototype player. But that's the game. That's the transition of the game. You're going to Mark Price from the Cavaliers. Yep. I mean, there were just so many, even in Indianapolis. I mean, in Indiana, they had Reggie Miller. They had, Schmidt. They had players, Mark Jackson. They had good players. They were elite players. Say whatever you want about them. They were elite. Nets point guard Dennis Schroeder calls Kevin Durant weak about tweeting about Team USA winning the gold medal. The beef started with when Schroeder called European basketball a high IQ basketball, while American basketball is just entertainment. Durant tweeted after the gold medal, IQ and entertainment, huh? Stephen A. Smith called Schroeder for going after KD, saying, how dare you say something like that to a legend like Durant? Both Kobe Bryant and LeBron James have taken shots at American youth basketball programs in the past, saying AAU basketball programs don't teach players an all-around game of basketball. You have NBA superstars coming out and speaking about the AAU leagues right now for Team USA basketball. Michael Jordan has taken shots at American basketball now. Now, I don't know if anybody got a chance to see The Last Dance. And if you didn't, shame on you. Go check it out. The game after the Dream Team changed a lot. Changed a lot internationally, because a lot of these international soccer players or these youngsters that were playing soccer all over the world, in Russia, Lithuania, Spain, Portugal, wanted to be Michael Jordan. They wanted to be Air Jordan. They couldn't afford sneakers. They played without them. You look at the game now, and Dennis Schroeder is right in a lot of ways. That you need high IQ basketball to play the international game. If you haven't checked out the international game in Israel or Spain or Lithuania or even China, well, then go check it out, because they do actually air some of those games. If you have a stick, I mean, it's illegal, but if you have a stick, you have a chance to go and get a chance to see some of these great young youth basketball leagues all over the world. How did they find the Greek Freak? How was Giannis discovered? Giannis and his family were not from Greece. They snuck into Greece. I think they were Nigerian.
Yep.
They almost died. And again, you have to do things and you have to go through things before you can understand the transition of what you need to do to become a superstar basketball player, football player, soccer player, hockey player. Kevin Durant is a great player. He's a Hall of Famer. He's going to go down as one of the best wing shooters we've ever seen. Long, with a 7'6" wingspan, unbelievable shooter, unbelievable range. Everybody keeps talking about Steph Curry. Go watch Kevin Durant when he was young. I saw him at Rucker Park live. I saw Kevin Durant 3 years into his career at Rucker Park live, absolutely shooting full court shots and hitting them. It was unbelievable. I didn't even know who he was. I got a chance to watch him play some college ball at Texas. I'm not going to lie, but I didn't know who he was. I didn't even think he was the best player in that draft. We all know who went number one, who barely had an NBA career because of a foot injury. But here's the thing. American basketball is not what it used to be. It's not. And internationally, we're going to see up-and-coming and international players that are going to be better than these American players. We already have. Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic are the two best players right now in the NBA. Argue whatever you want. These two guys are the best basketball players in the NBA. And guess what they are? They're white. I know nobody wants to hear it, but they are. It's a different game now. You have to play in so many different facets of the game. You have to understand so many facets of the game. You can't just be an offensive player now. You got to play two-dimensional basketball, or you're never going to get the money that these guys are making. And now you are, because they're paying guys that don't even step on a court $13 million. And you say, Keith, you say Luka plays zero defense. Luka's a pretty good defender. He's a pretty good defender. Here's the thing. We can argue what Schroeder's trying to say. We could argue, well, obviously, Kevin Durant, how defensive he gets, because Kevin Durant is a defensive guy.
Yeah.
He cries about a lot of different things, makes excuses. Keith, we'll get into the Kevin Durant, the whole thing. You think Kevin Durant plays more defense than Luka Doncic? You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. Here's the facts. If you look at this game right now, and you look at guys like Dennis Schroeder, and Dennis Schroeder should not be speaking for the international game, because who the hell is Dennis Schroeder? I want to hear the other players. I want to hear the superstar players come out like Giannis, like Luka, like those type of players, and speak out on the international game. But when you have Kobe Bryant and LeBron James and Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley, and those type of players come out and say that the AAU basketball programs are not what they used to be, that is scary. Because you could say whatever you want. The USA is the elite of the elite when it comes to basketball, and it should always be that way. Look at the NHL, okay? Canada, besides over, in the 80s with Russia, Canada has always been the greatest hockey place in the world. If you want to be a hockey star, you got to go to Canada. You got to train in Canada. But it's changing now. Sweden's better. Finland's better. The United States is better. Why? Because of the training, the facilities. There are just as many facilities here in the United States as there is in Canada for hockey. Look at the growth of hockey here in New York. 6 Long Islanders were drafted in last year's draft in the NHL in the top 3 rounds. It is going to change. Everything changes. The international game is going to catch up to the American game. We are not going to be as dominant as we once were. And there's reasons behind it. Now, do we have the better facilities? Yes, we do. We do. Because we are the center of the world. We have the best nukes. We have the best guns. We have the best everything. We have the best food. But there are countries and there are players that are grown into nothing. They have nothing. They come from families of nothing. So do these guys here in the United States that you see after 1 year, they want to go into the NBA because they need to take care of their families. Now these international players, they don't even want to play college ball. They want to play in the G League 1 year, make some money, and then go into the NBA draft. Why? Because it's all about taking care of their families. Now, do I think the European basketball game has caught up to United States basketball? Not fully. Not yet. Not yet. Not quite yet. But do I think in 10 years they will? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you this right now. What Steve Kerr did in that Olympics to Anthony Edwards, to Tatum, what Grant Hill not letting Kawhi Leonard play, and Jaylen Brown being a part of this team. Why would Jaylen Brown want to play for this team in 4 years? Why? Look how they treated him. Would you want to go and play for Team USA basketball after the way they treated him? I understand, Keith, they won the gold medal. But it's about the future of the game, not about now. They were going to win no matter what. They were. I picked them to lose. You know why I picked them to lose? Because I wanted to see something crazy happen.
Yeah, and crazy is exactly what Dennis Schroeder's describing. Like, it's entertainment, it's drama. Like, there's more storylines in America with the NBA offseason than there is during the season. Like, yeah, there's going to be obviously more hype in the playoffs and stuff like that, but all the NBA level, you're not driving Luka Doncic.
All right. And he says, I'm reading what Keith's saying. There's no way they win without LeBron James and Curry. How do we know? How do we know? If we saw Anthony Edwards played as much as LeBron James, how do we know he doesn't get hot? If Jason Tatum actually played as much as Stephen Curry, how do we know he doesn't get hot? We don't know that. How could you say that? Anthony Edwards is a top 7 player. Jason Tatum is a top 7 player. How could you say that? That's your opinion.
There's nothing definitive that says that they wouldn't because of height and because of skill, like we were discussing before. All these guys have that, and that's where still the U.S. is going to have that kind of advantage was when it comes to like the money. You said the money, the facilities that are there. But that being said, Schroeder is 100% right where these guys are playing for their individual egos, their brands, their contracts, all that stuff. And I think there is a fundamentally sound era with this European team because they have to go through a lot. And Carl saying Schroeder is not wrong. No one beats the U.S. consistently right now. Things will change. Yeah, but Schroeder is onto something when it comes to the fact that these guys are playing a more humble game. Like even the international superstars that are in the NBA today, besides Joel Embiid, like none of them are really coming off as that cocky either, the same way that LeBron is cocky and James Harden is cocky and all these guys. Like that kind of thing I think is transitioning for the good in the NBA, and maybe they can latch on from the U.S. players.
Again, Steve Kerr can say whatever he wants. He can go to, Democratic conventions, and I'm not going to really get too deep into what he said because, everybody knows I'm not a big Steve Kerr fan. I never was. And I think he's just replicating his style of coaching to Phil Jackson. He could say whatever he wants, and he can be whoever he wants to be. We're in the United States. We're in America, and you can do whatever the hell you want. I never liked Steve Kerr. I don't like the way he coaches, and that's good. If anybody thinks that Steve Kerr is a great coach, well, shame on you because obviously you don't watch enough basketball. But United States basketball is different. It's different. And it should worry you as a United States basketball fan. Because we haven't seen a Kobe Bryant or a LeBron James or a Michael Jordan come out in a very long time. There are none. We're hoping Anthony Edwards turns into that. We're hoping. Hopefully he does become that player, that dominant player that we've learned to love in the United States game of basketball. But it's all about cockiness now. It's about who can do a tomahawk jam or who could do this and who could be fancy, and get triple doubles. And it's not about team basketball. Internationally, it's all about team basketball.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's also a big reason why I think you're going to see the game grow even more once these other countries get more investment into the sport too. Like you were saying, France. Like France has this really good program now of these youngsters, 2 draft picks. Obviously, Wemby, who's a generational talent, and
these French guys that they drafted weren't that good in the tournament.
No, they weren't. But even so, like the development of the program, the investment into that kind of program as a primary sport is going to take a bigger deal. And like you said, with a sport like hockey, Canada might always be thought of as the powerhouse, but other countries are going to catch up. And because of the development programs that they're going to put in. Now, obviously what's happening in Russia right now, maybe it's not the same over there, but still the same kind of thing can happen in other European countries to get that kind of level. The only reason the US has that significant advantage right now is because of the funding. So they can get the athleticism that same way because they have a sport in basketball that outside of football is taking over as its primary, where it might be a 3rd or 4th tier thing somewhere else and not get that same level of funding.
All right, Brickfish, I'd like to know his opinion on this story. I mean, obviously, Kevin Durant and Dennis Schroeder don't like each other. I'm not a big fan of Kevin Durant, as everybody knows. I have my own opinion towards him as a player. I think he's a fantastic player. There's no doubt his dominance of what the game has transitioned into, these wing shooting guys that can really dominate games. And I believe that Golden State doesn't win those 2 titles without him. He was the MVP of that team. He was the best player on that team. I mean, your thoughts, Fish, on this whole story?
I think this is very eerily similar to the old argument of people that don't like the NBA because they love college basketball and the way the game flows better. You hear that from a lot of people that they don't like the NBA. They think it's too showy, too me first, too much dribbling around, ISO ball. We just watched Steph Curry win the Olympics for Team USA, not passing to anybody and just chucking up that last shot, which went in because it was amazing. He's amazing. But I mean, LeBron and Durant were wide open on that play too, and he was double covered. The theory is in international play that everyone's moving the ball. It's more of a motion offense. You don't really need the big rim protector in the same way. You just need people to run the rim because there's no goaltending. So there's a lot of different play aspects of the game that make it more, I guess, aesthetically pleasing if you like the team game of basketball, the way that it was taught at the middle school, at the high school level when you were growing up, but maybe not at this AAU level. In AAU, they're kind of trying. It's a little bit different. I coached middle school basketball for 2 years, and I had 2 different teams of AAU kids on my program, and I had to learn both of their offenses so I could run plays that they could run. I literally had to do that because that's what they do all the time. They play so much ball, and that's great. But at the same time, who's teaching them? There's too many people learning different things. There's a lot of me first because of that. Everyone's selling them the moon. It's a very weird culture. I couldn't believe how competitive it was with the AAU coaches, and I'm just dealing with 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. So to expand that to the later stages of AAU and to what we see internationally, it's hard to disagree with Schroeder if you like that form of basketball that we all remember. It's not really what has shown to win. Curry changed the game. Everyone's playing 5 out, chucking the ball up, because threes are worth more than 2. It's maybe not the way that we like the game. And until they change the rules, they changed the rules on Jordan with illegal defense. They're going to have to deal with this.
And here's the thing. I've also heard over the last couple of years, the NBA bringing a 4-point play. I don't want to see that. The NBA is always trying to make the game more fun to watch for these youngsters to want to be the next Steph Curry. And yes, Steph Curry has really changed the development of the style of game because now, you don't have to be a 6'6", 6'7", guard or of that magnitude because you don't need to jam. If you have a good shot, you can make an NBA team. You could be a superstar in this league. Hey, Steph Curry did it at 6'3". Why can't I? That's the game. That's the transition of the game. Everybody's trying to mimic those players, just like Steph Curry, just like LeBron James, just like Kobe Bryant. We're trying to mimic who? Michael Jordan. Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Yeah, and Fish, you bring up a good point too with the coaching, because I think a lot of these international superstars, even in today's game too, a lot of them get along with these coaches a lot better than some of the top stars at the American level at certain points. Like LeBron always is getting coaches fired all the time because he wants to play his game.
And Keith, I don't know what you're watching, but about a year and a half ago, there were a lot of NBA players putting stories out there that there should be a 4-point play and that the NBA was going to bring it to the All-Star game. So I don't know where you're and where you've been, but it's been happening, and the NBA is trying to find new ways to make the game more fun to watch. So just go look. Did you see the All-Star game this year? That the floor was moving, that they've made it more, I forget what they did with the floor. It's become different, and the NBA is going to implicate new rules and new stuff to the game to make it more fun for these youngsters, these foreign players, these AAU players that want to go and leave baseball or leave football or leave basketball. I don't know what that sound is. It's going from something like mute his thing. It's some kind of sound over there. Fire department of that magnitude. But honestly, this is something that the NBA needs to understand. The game is changing. It is. And fans need to understand that. And it's not beneficial when it comes to guys like Dennis Schroeder or even Kevin Durant going back and forth at one another. Because the truth is, both of them are not wrong. Both of them are not wrong. But I do believe that the international game is catching up. There's no question that it is.
And Kevin Durant will always be weak because he always has to resort to Twitter to solve his problems with his 6 burner accounts.
I don't understand that. I really don't, but whatever. SNY's Ian Begley reports that the Knicks are not expected to extend Julius Randle until during or after the season. He mentioned a big reason why is that the Knicks would be ineligible to trade Randle at the 2025 trade deadline if they extend him now. Randle is eligible for a 3-year, $109 million extension that can be signed anytime between now and June 30th. Randle will be playing on a $28.9 million deal this season and has a $30.9 million player option. Randle averaged 24 points per game, 9.2 rebounds per game, and 5 assists per game in 46 games before injuring his shoulder last season. I mean, if you're a Knicks fan, I think you should be happy with this. And there's a lot of reasons why. And I'm going to explain why. I am not saying that Julius Randle isn't a big fit or does not fit this New York Knicks team the way it is built. I think right now, there's no doubt he's the number 2 guy. No doubt. You want to say Mikal Bridges? He's not yet the number 2 guy. And we don't know if OG's the number 2 guy. But the Knicks have a lot of different combination of players that could take over these games. They do. It's Jalen Brunson's team. And I think this is the reason why they're undecided if they're going to extend Julius Randle. They want to make this his team. They brought all his friends here. They brought Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo. They were all part of his wedding party. Mikal Bridges. They brought all these guys here to make Jalen Brunson happy. Hence the reason why Jalen Brunson took about $80, $90 million less. If he just waited one more year, he'd be making $250 or $260 million because he's a top NBA player. He took less because he wants to win, and he wants to win here. Is Julius Randle a guy that you can call a winner? Is he a winner moving forward for this New York Knicks team? Can he stay healthy, which he hasn't been for the last 3 years? He's always hurt. And then he comes back and he throws up bricks in the playoffs. He's not a good playoff player. They need to see Julius Randle do what he did last year when OG Anunoby was traded here. He was a different player. He was a more team player. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was R.J. Barrett. Maybe R.J. Barrett was taking away the spotlight away from Julius Randle. Maybe he was. I just want to let everybody know I have a sinus infection, so I'm breathing and talking out of my nose. It's very, very hard to do that. So just bear with me here. I'm on antibiotics and everything. It's not very easy, by the way. I don't know how I'm doing it, but it's working. Julius Randle is a guy that is not a two-way player. He's not. He's an isolated player. And he wants the ball all the time. And he realized last year, it's not his team. It's not his team anymore. It's Jalen Brunson's team. And he has got to be number 2. And he might even be number 3 or could be number 4 this year. And I don't know if the Knicks believe that he can bear that. Because 2 years ago, when all this was going on, he was bitching and moaning. He was sobbing after the games that he wasn't getting the ball at the end of the game. And he wasn't the guy. It's not his team anymore. I don't know if it ever was. Players, I know there are a lot of Knicks fans that like Julius Randle. I like Julius Randle. I think he's a nice player. But is he a superstar? I don't care if he's been to 2 All-Star games since he's been here in New York. I don't care. I don't care that he averages 24 points last year and 9 rebounds and 5 assists. Is he a winner? Can we win with Julius Randle as the number 2? And my answers to that, not a chance. I don't think he's worth 3 years, $109 million. I think he's, 32 now? How many years does he have left as a top-end player? Now, I don't know how old he is. I think he's 32. You can look it up.
29.
Oh, okay, so he's 29. He's got 2 years left. By the time he's available to get that extension, if he wants that extension, he is 32. Is he worth? There's more of that sound, so mute his thing. I don't know what's going on with his mic. It's something with his mic now. It's something. I don't know what's going on over there. 3 years, $109 million is a lot of money. And if the Knicks give him 3 years, $109 million, how are they going to divvy out the money in the future to guys like Dante DiVincenzo, who has, 2 years? I think he signed a 3-year deal.
Yep.
And Josh Hart, who signed a 3-year extension last year. So all these guys have 2 years left. How are they going to be able to re-sign them if they have no money to do that? And here's the thing. OG just got big money. If they get rid of Julius Randle, if there's a guy they want to bring in, if there's a missing piece that they want to bring in when Julius Randle is off the cap, they could bring that guy in. They could bring in another great player. Not a dominant player, not a superstar player, but a good player to play with OG and Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges. And here's another thing. They're expected to give Mikal Bridges an extension before the season's end. So they have to make sure, and here's another thing. They want to make sure that if Julius Randle has a good season and they decide they want to move him, they can move him. If they give him that extension, they cannot move him in this year's trade deadline.
Right. And I think that's the big decision that they're not making impulsively, because we've seen the Knicks in the past operate on just impulse. If they don't get a first-tier free agent, they make a panic move and overpay for somebody, or they make a really bad trade and they never have any draft picks. This, I think, is a very good patient approach by Leon Rose, because they know Mikal Bridges. They think he could take a pay cut. There's been a lot of rumors of that, like Jalen Brunson did, to keep all those guys together to make that kind of thing work. And they can't sign him until October when the season starts. So if he does that, maybe it gives leeway for them to give Julius Randle. So there's no reason to do it impulsively right now. See how it fits. He hasn't played since January. He hasn't fit with a lot of these new guys yet. Yeah, he played well for 2 weeks.
They're not extending him. I'm telling you, if they're not extending him now, they're not going to extend him in the middle of the season. I think their plan is, if he has a good season and he's playing well, to move him. They expect Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby to be those number 2 and number 3 guy. I'm telling you right now, they're going to rotate this roster, figure out how this roster is going to work. in Thibodeau's eyes, I believe that Julius Randle doesn't fit the way they plan to play this new year. So I think that's the reason why Julius Randle is not getting an extension. Is Julius Randle going to be pissed off all season long? Only time will tell. I don't know why he's going to be pissed off. He's still making $28.9 million. Right. And next year he has a player option, so he can opt in and still make $30.9 million. He's playing for a team that has a chance to win a championship. So what is he crying about?
Yeah, that's the biggest what if for Julius Randle, because last year it seemed like he was playing a little more of a team game, finally, a more well-rounded game, but the years before that he wasn't. And
you don't like it? You shouldn't have signed the contract 2 years ago.
Correct. And that's where he's going to have to buy into this team being one of the top 5 teams in the NBA right now. And he has to know that I don't really care about the labels of who's the 3rd, 4th, 5th option, whatever, but you have to buy into at least more of a team mentality where his inefficiency and his shooting woes at certain points, especially in the 4th quarter, cannot cost them games. And that's where I think the Knicks still have to stay patient with that to see what kind of approach he has. In addition to the fact that he's also very injury prone. And can you trust that kind of thing for somebody giving him an extension at 30 years old when you have a lot of other guys that you could pay right now and try to keep those guys together?
He will be 30 before the season starts. He will be 30 before the season starts. That means in 2 years, he'll be 32. That's where I was coming at. And if you extend him for 3 more years, that will start after this coming year. So he'll be 31 next year. And by the time 3 years, he'll be 34, 35 years old. He is done. His career is over. Remember, Julius Randle's game is used from athleticism for his size. As you get older, at his size, what is he, 6'8", 6'9"? He's athletic inside the paint. He gets beaten up in the paint. How many years does he have left at the top of his game? If I were the Knicks, I'd sit back, trade him at the trade deadline, bring in another defensive piece or bring in a piece that fits this roster, and then decide what you're going to do in filling in that spot in the future. Because to me, they still have money. Leon Rose has worked his wonders with these contracts. I mean, the only contract that I'm still hoping and praying that it works is the OG Anunoby one, because I think they gave OG a lot of money. The highest paid player right now on this Knicks team is OG Anunoby. Who would have thought that? I mean, Jalen Brunson took less. Mikal Bridges is going to take less. Dante DiVincenzo took an unbelievable deal. I mean, he's making, what, $12 million a year for the next 2 years? I mean, Josh Hart's making $12 million a year, $13 million a year. These guys are underpaid. Everybody's underpaid. Even Mitchell Robinson's underpaid. Leon Rose is a genius. Say whatever you want about him. He doesn't speak to the press. He doesn't talk to anybody. Why does he need to? Everything he's touched turned to gold, turned to platinum. Speedy, you can get on your knees and do something with him.
All right, but we have Keith on the phone waiting right now. But before we do that, Fish, what are your thoughts?
I gotta agree, Errol. I can't believe we're even having these conversations. Only a few years ago, before Julius Randle got here, it looked like there was no hope ever. Phil Jackson, epic failure. Everything before that, I still remember Isaiah Thomas with his get ready for the experienced garbage that he came with. It was so bad. And now we're in this situation where we have a plethora of gifts and we only have one ball and we have too many guys that are good that need the ball. We've come a real long way as Knicks fans, and it makes me very happy that I call those good problems, not bad, not the problems we have. These are good problems to have. And you're right, Speedy. They're going to just wait because you can't extend them right now and trade them. So if it doesn't work, they're going to move him. But what they really could use him for is what we really saw be a problem in the playoffs is who's going to run that second unit when you have to take Brunson out, and we can't play Brunson so many minutes. So really, if you stagger his minutes, he'll start and he'll close the game, but he's going to be acting more like a sixth man running the second offense as ball creator to be that guy. Because OG, we saw, is not really that kind of creator. Bridges is, but he can play off the ball as well, and he's not going to come off the floor all that much either. So you really have kind of this more balanced lineup. Now, the problem is, can Randle play a small ball 5? Can he defend centers? I don't think he can. We'll see if he can. They're going to try that as a justification to paying him, because they'd like to pay him if he can fit in with this team that they built in his absence. And they kind of did it so fast that he was there not that long ago, putting up, if you remember, he was putting up all NBA type numbers before he went down. And when he was playing with OG, those few games that they played, they were unstoppable. They only lost 2 games out of 20 or something like that when they were all 3 of them together. So We got another piece with Bridges now. Hart and Devo are going to expect more minutes because of how they played. There's, we'll see what happens, but these are good problems, not the types of problems Knicks fans are used to.
All right, put them on.
All right, Keith, what do you got?
Okay. I want you to ask Fish if he thinks Luka Doncic is a good defensive player.
Before you do that, I brought up numbers. I brought up numbers for you because you say that Luka Doncic isn't a good defensive player. Do you know what? Do you know what? Do you know what? Hold on. Let me speak. Be quiet. Be quiet. And let me speak for a second. Do you know what ORTG means in the NBA? Do you know what it means?
Or what?
ORTG means in the NBA.
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Do you know what ORTG means in the basketball world?
No, I don't.
Okay. I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to explain it to you so you can understand because you think Luka Doncic isn't a good defensive player. It calculates individual offense to defense rating. Do you know where he's ranked? Do you know where he's ranked in the NBA? Do you know where he's ranked in the NBA?
No, how would I if I don't even know what that
I'm going to tell you. He's ranked 9th in the NBA. 9th.
Okay.
9th.
All right.
In the NBA.
So, that's great. That's great. You and your stats. Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Does he get smoked 101 every time?
Does he get smoked
101? Do they go right at him? And you know it's me that he's not a good defensive player. So does Fish. I'm not saying he won't be. He's gotten better. He's a great offensive player. I would still take him in the top 2. That's not what I'm saying. Top 2 or 3 players. But he is pretty big players, man.
Okay. The Celtics smoked him in the finals, but besides that, he played well defensively. The rest of the playoffs, he played well defensively for his standards. I'm not saying he's like an elite defender. He's
nobody. I never said that he was.
No, he's not even average. Yes, you know it.
I just told you. I just gave you a number.
So,
I don't care about that stat.
But it's an important stat.
I do the eye test. Now, you know what? Okay,
you and Mikey C need to marry each other.
Defensive player.
You and Mikey C need to marry each other. You really do. You really do.
Errol gladly DJ that wedding.
I'll marry him. Okay.
Dude, Keith, I answered you in the chat.
Ask Fitch if he thinks he's a good defensive player.
He says he thinks he answered you in the chat.
What?
Look,
he says he thinks he answered you in the chat.
I didn't look at it. I didn't see it.
What did he? What did you answer? What did you answer?
Look, he was one of the better post defenders in the league. At one point, he was second in the NBA.
He's one of the best post defenders in the league. That's what he said.
That's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
He was like, I don't have the final standings, but he was second at one point this season.
It's nothing to do with the Three Stooges. And you watch the game. Yeah, you watched in the playoffs. That's fine. Everybody watches the game. And
Barkley and Shaq and Ken Smith all say he's a big defensive liability.
Oh yeah.
You guys know the game better than him.
And you think Shaq was a good defender? You think Shaq was a good defender?
I said that's what they said about Luka.
Who cares what they said? Shaq wasn't a good defender.
In the past, he's had defensive issues. He's gotten better.
I take advice from Shaquille O'Neal telling me that he's a good defender.
Barkley, it doesn't, and Shaq, that doesn't mean they were better, great defensive players. It has nothing to do with that. I said they know the game better than us.
Okay.
And Kenny Smith definitely knows the game.
Keep in mind,
a great defensive player.
Keep in mind, most of the times that people were complaining about Luka Doncic's defense was in the NBA Finals when he was playing with a knee injury, and the Celtics have very good 2s, 3s, and 4s.
Stop it. His whole career, they've been saying it.
Early in his career, yes, I will admit that. But late, he's gotten better every year defensively.
Yeah, he improved a little bit. He's still not. He's at best mediocre.
That's fine. It doesn't make him a liability. There's two different things.
Well, you know what? And it doesn't matter. He's still well worth it. He's very slow, okay? And you know it. Maybe he is okay as far as posting up because he's strong. Okay, maybe you're right, Fish, on that. But as far as guarding a guy, 1-on-1, he's going to get smoked every time.
Did you say he's slow?
So slow.
Like that, I have a hard time believing Luka Doncic and slow in the same sentence.
He's not slow.
Luka Doncic?
He's 6'10". The dude is enormous playing a point forward.
Why does he run? If he's so slow, why does he run the point a lot?
I didn't say he's so slow. Why does he run the point? Because he's a great passer and shooter.
He's pretty good up and down the court, too. He's not as slow as you make him out to be for a guy his
He's
size.
not fast by any means.
No, he's not.
Point
He's
guard
not
speed.
LeBron James, but
No,
who
he's not 80% of the guys in the NBA. He's not, you know what I mean? But he's great. Don't get me wrong. I'd still take him. You're not listening, mate. As far as he's not fast or fleet-footed by any means, you know that. Come on, do the eye test.
So was Magic Johnson a bad basketball player for the same reason?
Well, Fish, he can't hear you because he's on the other side. He can't. You guys are in two different areas, so he can't hear you. He's saying
Magic Johnson.
You're going to say Magic Johnson was a bad defensive player because Magic Johnson played the same way.
Magic Johnson wasn't. He was great at. Since he wasn't great guarding the guy one-on-one. Magic Johnson was
Really?
awesome. Yes, I watched him. You didn't.
I watched Magic Johnson play. Come on.
How many years did you watch him? How old?
I started. All right. I started watching Magic Johnson. Remember, basketball was my favorite sport growing up. I started watching basketball when I was 6 years old. So I was born in 82.
Actually, I was 4.
I was born in
the next one.
I was born in 82. So I started watching basketball
And when the
in
Magic stopped playing
88.
it,
Magic Johnson
88?
did play. Magic Johnson played in
88?
88. Yeah, he did. 88.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I watched.
So,
Magic Johnson was at the top of his game in 88.
Was at the top of his game.
Yeah, he was. He was good. He won the championship.
No, not when he got the HIV.
Oh, stop. He played
He
against
was at the
Detroit.
top of his game with HIV.
No, listen.
That was in the early 90s.
90s. He came out with the HIV.
Hey, listen, Magic and Bird were amazing, but Magic was he was an all right defensive player. He had good hands, but he wasn't known again. He wasn't a great defensive player. He didn't have the same type of game. He had no outside shots, so he did not have the same type of game as Luka. Not even close. Nothing.
Same
in that
defensive game.
Who won in 87-88, the NBA championship?
The Lakers.
Okay. The rest of my case.
I said Magic was great, not defensively.
No,
he was
but you
amazing.
just said that I never saw him at the elite part of his game. He was at the elite part of his game.
No, I didn't. I said, Errol, that he wasn't at the top of his game.
He was at the top
he
of his
still
game.
won.
He
was at the
was.
top of his game when you're 36 or 37.
He wasn't 36 or 37 in 88.
He was 35, right?
I don't think he was. I think.
Yeah, well, when he came back, look it up. I'm pretty sure he was. Well, whatever. Errol,
He came back in the 90s.
28 to 32. He was still great, yes. But believe me, Magic and Bird were the two greatest players I think I've ever seen.
How old is Magic Johnson right now?
He was 28 in 87.
All right, so Magic Johnson was 28 years old in 88. You're going to tell me that he was 36?
Magic was 28?
28.
He was in college. He was on a championship team of Michigan State that won in
No, I know,
78.
yeah, he was young, yeah, I
78.
know that.
So he
I
was a
watched
teenager
that
then. Yeah.
I watched that championship. I know.
Magic Johnson
So
was
that
at the top
means-
of his game in 88. I remember.
So he was 18, you're saying?
He was 28.
He was 28 10 years later in 87, 88.
And he came out early.
Okay.
That's when I started
So
watching
when did he
basketball.
retire?
He retired in
at
91.
You tell me he retired at 28?
91, I think he came down with HIV.
92, right?
91. No, because 92 he played for the Dream Team. He missed a year. I think it was
Oh,
91.
I don't think it was near the end of his career. Then you're right. I stand corrected. I'll admit when I'm wrong. I stand corrected.
I think it was 91 when he came out that he was HIV positive, if I'm not mistaken. And it was 92 that the Olympics allowed him to play in the Olympics. And then he actually did come back for a little while after that. And then he retired and became a coach.
He was exhausted.
Yeah.
He was out of the game a few years, so it's hard to come back.
Yeah, it's hard to come back at the top of
but
his
you
game.
did see him at the top. You did.
I also saw Larry Bird, and for Anthony Edwards to come out and say that nobody had the skills like Michael Jordan is ridiculous because Larry Bird was pretty skilled. I mean, I don't know what he was watching. Larry Bird can go up and down the court, can do anything. He would do anything. I've never seen. I'm going to tell you this. Larry Bird's one of the best white players I've ever seen, and still to this day I can say that. I mean,
he's one of the best players. Period.
He was unbelievable. I mean,
not the best.
And for people to say that Magic Johnson was better than
right
Larry
under
Bird,
Jordan.
he wasn't better than Larry Bird. I'm sorry, and I'm just speaking the truth. I thought Larry Bird, Magic Johnson wasn't better than Larry Bird. I'm sorry.
I agree.
I think Larry Bird was better than he was.
Larry Bird was a much better shooter. Much better.
Much better shooter.
And his defense is better, and he rebounded better.
Magic Johnson was a better passer, but
barely though, man. I don't know about that. If Bird had to play point, You have to, dude. You seen Bird's passes? You have.
Yeah, Bird was. I watched
was
Bird.
off the hook.
I remember Bird. I remember that team with McHale and with. Oh man, I hated that. I hated that team. Boy, I hated
Johnson,
that team.
Danny Ainge.
I hated Dan. Dude,
Danny
don't even
Ainge.
mention Danny Ainge.
Yeah,
I
he
hate
was
that
good.
man.
A good shooter.
I hate Danny
He was.
Ainge.
He still was a good player.
Oh, I can't
He was a
stand
good
him.
dude. Not great.
Dude, I don't even know if I was in the same vicinity as Danny Ainge, if I could actually speak to him. That guy, for years, has tried to screw the New York Knicks and has screwed the Knicks every single time. For some reason, he has a vendetta in hating the New York Knicks. For what reason? I don't know. But the guy is a complete ass. I don't like Danny Ainge, and we're gonna go to a sportsman in just a few moments. But I'm before we let you go, you can call back.
One more thing.
You could call back.
I'll wait.
Yeah. No. You want to do? Wait. Let's go to a quick sports minute. When we come back, we'll finish up with the Julius Randle. A lot of football to get into. When we come back in, on our first guest, we'll be talking to former Packers, Bills, and Buccaneers defensive lineman Jarrell Worthy, who's been on a show before, doing a lot of good things right now in the community. Very excited to get him on. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute
Are you ready to get loud?
with Tommy Scoops.
Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we know what time it is. The Loudmouth Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops. And starting off over in the NFL, CeeDee Lamb and Cowboys are not far apart on a new deal. The star wide receiver who has been in heavy contracts talks is not far apart with Dallas and could suit up for them week 1. In other news, while speaking about the Cowboys, owner Jerry Jones guarantees that quarterback Trey Lance will make the 53-man roster. The former first-round pick Lance acquired by Cowboys last season will remain in Dallas roster this year. And lastly, Ravens QB Lamar Jackson is not worried about the critics. After falling short of a Super Bowl appearance last season, Jackson is only focused on returning and making it to the Super Bowl. Now it's time for Scoops to Scores. We're currently over in the MLB. The Guardians and Yankees are currently tied at 2 apiece at the end of the third, while at the bottom of the 6th, the Diamondbacks have a 3-1 lead over the Marlins. The Rockies currently have a 3-0 lead over the Nationals at the top of the 6th, while at the bottom of the 4th, the Reds and Blue Jays. Blue Jays with a 6-1 lead over the Reds. At the end of the third, the Orioles have a 3-1 lead over the Mets, and the Phillies and Braves are currently tied at 0 apiece at the bottom of the third, while the Brewers have a 1-0 lead against the Cardinals. That is currently all the time I have for you guys right now. I'm kicking it back to the boys for the continuation of the Sports Loudmouth.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
This is boring music. What the hell is it? Shooting things now? 631-672-3108 is the number to call. What are we in, the gang? We're in a gang. We're in
Willie Whopper, Speedy.
We're in
Willie
Whopperland.
Whoppers.
We're in Whopperland with Speedy. Go to a website. Well, you're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. Go to a website to www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me and Speedy PD every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Speaking of betting, ladies and gentlemen, you can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Hit the top link, which is Bovada, and hit the QR code. If you, ladies and gentlemen, put $100 in, you get 100% of your deposit. That means 100 will become 200. 200 will become 400. 400 will become 800. 800 will become 1,600, and so on, and so on, and so on. You could bet on almost anything, like the presidential election or whatever you want to bet on. I mean, who do you have, Speedy? I'm not going to ask you. Anyways, you can withdraw from Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin anywhere in the world except here in the tri-states. You cannot use Bovada in the tri-state, but anywhere else. No limitation on what state you are in except here. You can bet anywhere. All you have to do is click our link. And by the way, if you're a Fanatic fan and you like hats, I love hats. As you see me wearing a different hat every single show, ladies and gentlemen, I've got over 175 hats. All you have to do is hit our Fanatic link on our website, and you get 25% off of whatever you buy. And if you are, a sports game fan, and you like sports games, and you like, you like concerts, Speedy, where do you go? You go to our website. And what do you hit, Speedy?
You go to StubHub.
Are you thinking? Or spit it out? Spit it out. Do it again. StubHub. Spit it out.
StubHub.
Get a little bit more. Give it a little juice to it.
StubHub.
All right, that's the juice. That's the juice. All right, you heard it from Speedy. He is giving it a juice. StubHub, and you get a percentage off of any tickets, any sports game, any concert that you want to go to. Hit our link, buy, and you get yourself 10 or 15% off of whatever you buy through our link. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Now we still have Keith on the phone. Keith has his, we're going back and forth with some of the basketball information, and obviously Anthony Edwards speaking out saying that Michael Jordan was the only skilled player in his time, which I think is absolutely outrageous and ridiculous. But he also said some interesting stuff as well about the international game and the American game and the transition of the American game and his style of game. I mean, Keith, you were saying that Luka Doncic don't play defense. You're saying that you don't think he's a good
no, not completely. I'm just saying he's not a good defensive player. He's average.
He's not. Hey, listen, if you're an average defensive player and you're an elite offensive player, you're pretty damn good player. So
he's a great player. Mm-hmm. I would take him if he didn't play any defense. He's amazing.
I just think that
he's full of skills. His skills are sick off the hook.
I think that when
great passer, one of the best I've ever seen.
I think if you look at his game and his transition of his game, he's only getting better. He's becoming
He is getting better. Listen, I'll admit when absolutely he's gotten better. He got better as the playoffs went on. Even
I couldn't believe how far they got into the playoffs the way they did. Did you think they were? Did you think they were going to the NBA Finals?
Yeah, remember I picked them.
Yes,
before the tournament, and you remember that. Go back and look it up. Or check it out.
I mean,
I picked Boston, and Boston to beat them. Exactly what happened. I got lucky.
I did not think Dallas was going to the finals.
No, most people didn't, but I just thought they were on a roll. They were playing really well. Irving and Doncic were playing well together. Without Kyrie, they wouldn't.
I had no idea they were going to beat the Timberwolves. I had no idea. I thought the Timberwolves were going all the way. I didn't think the Timberwolves were going to beat Boston.
I didn't really think it would happen, but it did. They were just playing good basketball,
It'll be a fun.
Now, Anthony Edwards, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, but he's going to. I think he will be, if anybody, he'll be the next great American player for sure. Never know though, but he's very confident. He's a great athlete. He's very competitive. He might have a little too much fun as opposed to with Jordan, and that's good. It could be good. Like Jordan had to remain fierce, and that was it. He was determined to do whatever. I think Edwards is missing that Jordan factor there. That win at all costs, maybe. But he's also really young, man. He's 22. Jordan didn't win his first championship till 27. But Minnesota has some pretty damn good pieces around him.
Remember this name, Cooper Flag. I've been saying this over and over and over again. I believe he's the next.
It's going to be good. Great. But, you don't know what's going to happen. But I'd be shocked if he's not great. I think Wembanyama is going to be the best player we've ever seen.
I don't like he's playing under Shire. I'm not a big fan of that. But I do believe Cooper Flag is going to be an outstanding NCAA player this year. I wouldn't be surprised if he's player of the year. He's playing for the Devils, and the Devils have
he has all the talent. He has more talent than anybody. If he isn't, it just goes into his talent.
He would, out of all the youngsters, the young college players that played against Team USA before, his game is as polished as anybody we've seen. I think he's the next Kevin Durant.
He can play pro right now. No doubt.
I think he could, and I think the whole point of him is really just developing his skill. I think he should play 2 years of college ball. I don't think he should go right into the NBA. I think he should wait until. Yeah, I know he is because he's going to be a top 2 pick. And by the way,
he's the number 1 pick.
Some people don't. No, there are people. Who do we have on the show that said he wasn't going to be the top pick? There was somebody else. There was somebody else. There was somebody else that they said.
Is he from Europe? Probably.
He's from the United States. He's a point guard, if I'm not mistaken. That they said. He said.
I guess it depends who's picking too. You don't know.
It was the guy we had on the NBA draft nights, Dan Purcell.
He worked for the Pelicans. Yeah. He was assistant GM over there with the Pelicans, and he said that he doesn't even think Cooper Flag is going 1. He thinks he's going 2. He's predominantly a top 3 pick. But I think he's the best player going into this year's draft. But he said he doesn't believe it, and he says it's not this coming year's draft that you can't wait for. It's the year after, and that's why the Nets are trying to scavenge up draft picks because he said the 2026 draft is going to be one of the best drafts in the next 15 to 20 years. That's what he
Yeah,
said.
several people have said that. Yeah,
he says that draft class is going to be ridiculous.
So the guys going into their senior year now are going to be the beast. No, next year.
No. They're
not all seniors.
No. There was another player. I forget his
Oh,
name.
as far as the NBA, right.
There was another guard. He's a 2 or a 1. I forget his name. Yeah, going into the NCAA this year, that they're saying that he was saying is going to be drafted over Cooper Flag. That's what I forgot his name. I just
we'll see.
But I think
Cooper will be number 1. So
do I.
Depending on who's drafted again.
So do I. I think he is going to be number 1.
I think it's awesome for what I've seen.
But we've also seen a very good class of players go to Duke and fail. All right, in the last 2 years. I mean, I'm just Shire is not the guy that I would have picked, and the reason why, look at what
I agree with that.
Danny Hurley is doing right now. I would have taken Danny Hurley.
I don't know if Danny Hurley would have left.
Yes, he would have. No.
I wouldn't have.
Danny Hurley wasn't with UConn when they were looking for a coach.
Yeah,
he was. Yes, he was. Danny Hurley would have. Well, right now
he's been there since 2018.
Yeah, so he wouldn't have.
Why not?
Went over.
Why not?
Why would he? He's had a better program right now.
When did Coach K leave?
Right, but
when he retired,
2022.
I don't think he would. You know why I don't think he would have? Maybe he would have, because it's his own thing. He's not the Duke guy. It was his brother. UConn was more. He's from the Big East. We don't know what he would have done. So I guess it's a. Maybe he would have made.
I think what Errol's saying is before he started winning drastically, like he's winning with UConn now. Maybe if at the right price they could poach him.
What I'm saying, it was just
2 years ago.
You know what I mean?
I don't know if he would have left either, but at least they could have made an effort.
Yeah, but you know what? If he just went right away to been like, Coach K, just talking on from Coach K, he was left that, which was proven that it takes more than that because Shire has done shit.
Oh, sure.
I'm not up to their ability.
But I think it's a different circumstance in 2022 when UConn still hadn't won anything yet. Now, he's established a program winning back-to-back titles, and now he's not going to go anywhere. He turned down more money from Kentucky and all these other schools.
We have no idea.
No, we'll never know. And that's the crazy thing when it comes to sports. We could predict or we could assume anything, but that doesn't mean that's going to happen. So
right, it's not fact.
There's no facts to it. There's no background.
Now the only thing where I'm telling you, I'm not a fan of LeBron. I'm not a huge KD guy. You might think I'm not. I do love Curry. His game's sick, but if they didn't have, they could have won possibly without KD. I'm telling you right now, without LeBron and those 52 games by stuff. But without LeBron, I'm telling you, they don't win it, dude. They would have lost to Serbia and they would have lost to France. His passing was off the hook, and Curry was on fire. So he had to take down the last 3. He's on fire. When Curry's on fire, there's nobody like him. But most of the Olympics, he wasn't. He had the 2 great games, but they did move the ball incredible. It wasn't your typical NBA one-on-one basketball whatsoever. So I don't know what Fish is talking about, because that's what he kind of was saying. Not this year. Fish normally, in the NBA, I agree. But if you watch the Olympic game, which I did every game, they moved the ball, which I was shocked. And LeBron was the facilitator. And I really was. I wouldn't be surprised if he sticks around for his youngest son.
I don't. I think it's 2 years. He signed it 2 years.
It's kind of repulsive in a way, but it's he might do it, but maybe he's just like, hey, enough, because Bronny sucks. He'll just be if he's lucky. If it was for LeBron, he wouldn't even been drafted. But in any round,
Keith, keep listening. Man. Keep listening. We're gonna get into some football conversation. Thank you for calling, buddy.
Oh, Yankees. Soto Judge back to back before. All right. Talk to you later, man.
The Yankees are down right now, 3-2. It is the 4th inning, and hopefully the Yankees get this win. They need this. Cleveland is one of the better teams in the American League, and they are a really gritty team. So I don't know if anybody's watched this Cleveland Indians team play, and they're pretty good. And Volpe just got a double right over here. So there we go. And it looks like they're going to get the run back in. There you go. It's 3-3. There you go. Who's that? That's not Gleyber Torres. Gleyber Torres doesn't move. On the Dan Le Batard Show, Tua called out Brian Flores, who told him he didn't belong as an NFL quarterback in 2020 and 2021. He added that Flores constantly told him, "You suck at what you do, and you haven't earned the right." Tua was benched a couple of times for Ryan Fitzpatrick during his rookie season, and there was a belief that the Dolphins could have traded for Deshaun Watson after that, who Flores wanted. Flores reportedly also wanted to draft Justin Herbert instead of Tua, but the front office always wanted Tua. Tua added that Mike McDaniel, when they first hired him, showed Tua a 700-play highlight reel of things he did well. Tua has 8,172 passing yards and 54 passing touchdowns in 2 seasons with McDaniel, while having only 4,467 passing yards and 27 touchdowns with Flores. All right. We all know that Brian Flores did not like Tua Tagovailoa. We all know that there was a big problem in that locker room, and that's why Brian Flores did not keep his job. There was a lot of racist stuff going on, behind the scenes with the executives and ownership. I don't know, okay? And I'm not going to assume anything because I wasn't there. What I do know is Tua Tagovailoa, and I always mess up his name, is to me, say whatever you want, a top 10 quarterback right now in the NFL. Now, he's injury prone. He needs to stay in the pocket. He cannot move outside of the pocket. When he does, he puts himself in harm's way. He's had, 7 concussions in the last 3 years? I mean, if he has another concussion, he's done. His career is over. They paid him this offseason because they believe he's their franchise quarterback. Here's the problem. Brian Flores is a great, and I repeat, a great defensive coordinator. He is. He's a great defensive mind. He knows the game. He's everywhere he's gone as a defensive-minded player or coach. He's succeeded. Now, I don't know what was the gripe of Brian Flores to Tua Tagovailoa. I have no idea. And I don't know what was his love fetish for Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean, he's a great analyst. I love Ryan Fitzpatrick on the NFL Network. Shout out to Ryan Fitzpatrick. I would love to get him on the show. Him and his big beard, his craziness. I think the guy's got a great personality. I think he's the best on the NFL Network. And that's coming from me, who's not a big Ryan Fitzpatrick fan. It's a shame what happened in Miami. If these two could get along, Mike McDaniel could be the new head coach for the New York Jets. I mean, the Jets would have Mike McDaniel instead of Robert Damn Saleh, who I can't stand. I mean, knowing the Jets, they probably wouldn't make that move, but hey, you know what? You could wish. Tua Tagovailoa, say whatever you want about his career, and it still has a lot left in it. He's 27 years old? I don't know exact age, but he's 27 years old. The guy's already thrown, if you look at his numbers, almost 14,000 yards. That's a lot. You can say whatever you want. He's on his way. If he plays another 8 to 9 years, he's on his way to throw 35,000 yards. I mean, that's Hall of Fame-esque. Who's to say Tua Tagovailoa can't do that? Tua Tagovailoa has thrown almost 90 touchdowns in 4 years as a starting quarterback? That's a lot. I don't know why everybody hates this guy. Now, I don't have the numbers right in front of me to give you the exact numbers of what this guy is. But I could tell you, he's not far from an elite quarterback. He's not far. You want to rate him in the top 10? You want to rate him 9 or 10? He's right there. At one point last year, he was the MVP of the league. For the first 5 or 6 games of the season, everybody had Tua as their MVP. What's scary about Tua is not many left-handed throwers have been successful in the league. There are not many. And here's another problem. He has that concussion problem, the injury-prone problem. Last year, he didn't come out of the pocket until the playoffs. He stood into the pocket and he threw the ball. And every time there was a rusher, he would go to the ground. He would slide to the ground. He made sure that he wouldn't put himself in harm's way. You're going into a season this year where your offensive line is not as good as it was last year. And your defense is not as good as it was last year. So now, getting back to the Brian Flores situation. Brian Flores, to me, deserves another coaching chance in the NFL. He does. What happened in Miami, what happened with the whole situation over there was a shameful thing that happened. Pittsburgh gave him another chance. Mike Tomlin gave him another chance, and he's flourishing. And I think one of these teams, one of these owners have to look at Brian Flores. The guy knows what he's doing. Miami was a winning team when he was there. They had a winning record. Tua wasn't failing. Was he putting up the numbers that Mike McDaniel is doing? No. But who is? Mike McDaniel right now is the best offensive mind besides Andy Reid in the NFL. Him, I would say there's three guys right now. Sean McVay, Andy Reid, and Mike McDaniel. Those are the three masterminds. And if you want to put Kyle Shanahan, put him there. You want to slip him in. Kyle Shanahan too. I mean, you can argue Kyle Shanahan too. All right, for four guys. You got four of them. And I think Jarrell, I think he said that he's going to be a little late, Speedy. Go look at that.
All right.
Here's the thing. You sit here today. What was the gripe? Now, do I think Justin Herbert's a better quarterback than Tua? Yes, I do. But guess what? What has Justin Herbert done in the playoffs? What has Justin Herbert done in the last 2 years? He puts up numbers. There's no question that he does. What has he won in the playoffs? I seem to remember 2 years ago in the playoffs when they were up, 27-3 in a halftime, or 27-7 in halftime? They lose against Jacksonville and Trevor Lawrence in the second half when they were up big. Justin Herbert couldn't do anything. Now, I'm not going to blame Justin Herbert. His defense completely fell apart, but he made some bad mistakes. He put the ball in bad positions and put his team in a very bad situation many, many times in the fourth quarter. So Justin Herbert, as good as he is on paper, is he that much better than Tua Tagovailoa? I mean, let's bring up their numbers right now. Let's bring up Justin Herbert's numbers right now. If you, what's Jarrell saying, by the way?
Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have to reschedule with him. He has some sports with the kids tonight.
That's fine. Jarrell, we'll get Jarrell on another day. That's fine. Justin Herbert in his career. Let's bring up and Fish. You got Tua's numbers right now, right? You got his numbers. To unmute yourself, so you know we can hear.
They're right there for you.
All right, just give me his all-around numbers of his career.
Tua has 66.9 completion percentage, 12,639 yards, 81 touchdowns, 37 picks. Let's see. We've got a 97.1 quarterback rating overall, 90 sacks. He made the Pro Bowl last season.
All right, Justin Herbert. His career, 17,223 yards, 114 touchdowns, 42 interceptions, a 94.7 RTG percentage right there. Those are the numbers. So he has 5,000 more yards than Tua. 5,000
4
more
years
yards.
for Tua. Same amount of years, right? They came out in the same draft, right?
Same draft. But if I'm not mistaken, Tua didn't play 1 year because of Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick took over. So I'm not sure. I mean, Justin Herbert's been the starter.
Tua only played 9 games his first year as a rookie.
How many games does Tua have?
He's got 53 games, 51 started.
Okay, 51 started. I don't have the games on this one for Justin Herbert. I'm trying to look for it right here, but I'm looking at maybe because I'm looking at the stupid one right over here. I don't know. They can't give you anything right in front of your face. It makes no sense.
Herbert has played 62 games.
So he's played
62.
12. So he's played 12 more games.
11.
Yeah,
11 more.
11 more games. Okay. So if Tua played 11 more games, he'll probably have 2,000 more yards, 3,000 more yards. Well, let's say 2,000 more yards. So Justin Herbert would have 3,000 more yards than him. So they're not far apart from one another. They're really not. They're really not. Now, who would I rather? I would rather Justin Herbert, because Justin Herbert, I think, is bigger, he's stronger, and he doesn't have concussion problems. He can move outside of the pocket, make the throws. Tua, you have to be worried because of his size and his mobility, where he puts himself in harm's way. Justin Herbert, we've seen him many, many times go out of the pocket because of his size and his ability and his athletic ability. Remember, suck for the duck. Remember when he was playing for Oregon? He was very good inside and out of the pocket. He was more known for his outside presence outside of the pocket than throwing the ball when he was coming out of the draft. He really developed that throwing skill in the NFL as he developed, from college football. So, but what I'm saying here is, I understand why Brian Flores wanted Justin Herbert. I understand. I think a lot of people would see that. And Deshaun Watson, I mean, if you would have asked me 4 years ago, Deshaun Watson was a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. He was. He should have won that MVP the year Aaron Rodgers won. I think it was Aaron Rodgers, if I'm not mistaken, won that year.
2 years in a row, yeah.
Yes, but I thought with the talent that he had around him, he was better. He was better than Aaron Rodgers that year. I think he threw 32 touchdowns. He threw 8 interceptions. He threw over 4,000 yards that year. He ran in 8 or 9 or 10 times. I don't know the numbers, but his numbers were ridiculous, and he had nobody around him. Nobody. The Texans sucked. I think Cooks was his best wide receiver on that team.
Yeah, because they just traded Hopkins to Arizona that year.
I mean, they were terrible on paper, but Deshaun Watson put up unbelievable numbers. Unbelievable numbers. And then he was jerking people off, or somebody was jerking him off, or many people were jerking him off, having a little fun, hand jobs, maybe, maybe Scoops was hanging out with him. I don't know.
It's good for both of us.
It's good for all of us. It's good for Speedy too. I mean, Speedy, you know all about that, right? No? Would you hang out with Deshaun Watson now that he did that kind of stuff? I think he would. I think Speedy would enjoy it.
Do you bend the meat?
I bend the meat. I've always been the meat making. But anyways, I mean, seriously, on the Dan Le Batard show, you sit here today and you can confront the situation that happened with him and Brian Flores. But I don't know the entailed information that was going on. The fact that Brian Flores said that he sucked, that's wrong. You do not go after a young quarterback like that, especially when he's your guy. And you haven't earned the right. You won a national championship. What do you mean you haven't? Brian, did you ever win a national championship? How about this, Brian? Have you ever coached a team that won an NFL championship or a college championship? The answer, no. So how could you say that? You haven't earned the right? He played for Alabama. He played for Nick Saban. Nick Saban's nuts. How could you say he never earned the right? We don't know what Tua Tagovailoa is going to be. Do I think he's going to win, a Super Bowl championship? Not as long as Patrick Mahomes is in this league. That's just my opinion. We saw him against Patrick Mahomes last year. He didn't look good. Okay? He can't play in the cold. He has a problem playing in the cold. Maybe because of his size. Maybe because of his small hands. I don't know. But he can't. But we could say that about a lot of quarterbacks that played against Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the only one that really has a good record against him is maybe Tom Brady and Joe Burrow. Those are the only 2 guys that have beaten Patrick Mahomes. And did it, no, not even surprisingly, just actually beat him. So it's not easy when you have an elite quarterback, just like Tom Brady. How hard was it to knock off Tom Brady in the playoffs? It was hard because he was Tom Brady. And that's the same thing with Patrick Mahomes. I think it's going to be very, very hard this year. If a team's going to knock off Patrick Mahomes, you're not just going to have to beat him. You're going to have to beat Andy Reid. You're going to have to play it. You're going to have to beat that defense. That defense, and anybody who's going to argue with me, everybody wants to give Patrick Mahomes all the credit. They won the Super Bowl last year, not because of Patrick Mahomes. They won that Super Bowl last year because their defense was one of the top 4 defenses in the NFL. That is a fact. Go look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. They were the best defense in the playoffs last year. The best defense in the playoff last year. All those defensive teams, all those top. And what is that smell? Who sprayed that crap in the studio? That is a horrible smell. Whoever sprayed that is killing me here. The best defense in the playoffs last year was the Kansas City Chiefs. There's not even an argument there. And to get back to the whole Deshaun Watson thing, if he thought that Deshaun Watson was a better fit in Miami than Tua Tagovailoa, boy, oh boy, could you imagine Deshaun Watson in Miami right now with all those massage parlors? I mean, him if I'm not mistaken, and I'm just, Robert Kraft hangs out over there. In the summertime. That's his favorite place to go. So him and Robert Kraft would have been best buddies over there. That's not a lie. I mean, seriously, hand jobs galore over there. I mean, in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, I'm going there, baby. Speedy, you want to go? No hand jobs for you.
It's
good for both.
It's good for all.
Interesting you bring up Bob Kraft, Errol. You know, with Bob Kraft and the Patriots, I got to think about Flores, who's another guy off of the Belichick coaching tree. You know, coming from the Patriots, they all seem to be awkward with their players from McDaniels on down. Every single Joe Judge, all their coach, all these guys have been very weird with their guys when they became head coaches. I try to figure out always, I'm like, why we always talk about this coaching tree failing compared to others, like the Holmgren tree with Reed and Gruden that we talked about last week. Well, think about what happened where Belichick came from. He comes from Parcells, and Parcells was really hard on Phil Simms, as the story goes. I was born in 86, so I didn't see that title. I was 1 year old by the time the game started. And I'll tell you, the stories of how he rode Simms even got passed down to me, and I'm sure you guys have heard them too, that you just can't coach guys the same way that they did. It used to be that like Marty McFly syndrome, like you can't do this, you're garbage, you need to work harder, you're crap. I can find someone else to do that. Yeah, but that was it. Like you have the chip on your shoulder, lunch pail type of guy that's going to prove you wrong. And that seems like what the Belichick tree is all about, trying to get those types of guys. And, you know, is one of those things that is never really correlated to success, especially in these younger generations. Tua is only 26. He won't be 27 until after the season next year, upcoming year.
He's young.
He's a young guy. It's a different generation. I mean, I'm coaching 17 and 16-year-olds, and they're even different than this generation. You can't ride them like this. It's not the same. And I've seen a lot of coaches in their 50s and 60s have to just call it quits because they just can't get along or even understand this generation. The way that you motivate kids is so different today than it was. And Flores it's that old school mentality. And he even apologized. It came out after the show started that Flores, feels pretty upset about all this. His voice was shaking, talking about Tua calling him a terrible person, probably because he's just one of these hypercritical guys who just saw that Tua wasn't doing good enough. But instead of,
but what do you want to do?
Fish,
I'm not a coach. I'm not sitting here saying that I am a coach. If I was coaching Tua Tagovailoa, I'm not going to throw him under the bus. I'm not going to make him look like he was puny. You're the franchise. You drafted him as your number one pick. You took him over Justin Herbert. You took him over the other quarterbacks. So you obviously believed that Tua Tagovailoa was your guy. Now, maybe he didn't want him. Maybe he came out and said that he didn't want him. I don't know the truth. There were stories coming out and saying that he wanted Justin Herbert. We don't know the truth. And Brian Flores, did he come out and say that? He never said that. We never heard Brian Flores say that I wanted Justin Herbert. What we have heard is this: Brian Flores saying that he sucked. But how do you know what somebody is at the age of 23? How do you know? Well, we know what Zach Wilson was, okay? I mean, Zach Wilson really does suck. I mean, I'd rather sniff a horse's crap than watch him play on a football field.
Have you ever sniffed lines?
I probably sniff lines too. I'd sniff lines with Lawrence Taylor if it was up to me. I mean, Lawrence Taylor, if he sniffed lines, probably could play better quarterback than Zach Wilson. I mean, this is the truth. But we know what he is. We've seen enough of Tua Tagovailoa to say that he's a pretty good quarterback. So for anybody to think, or even Brian Flores to come out and say that he can't win or he's not a winning quarterback, we don't know what he is. Let me ask you guys a question right here. Russell Wilson is not liked by anybody. And what we've heard over the last couple of years is that nobody in Seattle on his team really liked him. Not even Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll had to kiss his ass because he won a Super Bowl. Now, it wasn't him that won the Super Bowl. If you remember, when they won the Super Bowl and they knocked off Peyton Manning and those Broncos in New York, and right after that game, it was a blizzard, if you remember that. I do remember that, by the way. It wasn't who was the MVP of that game? It was Smith. I think it was Smith, the linebacker or the lineman. I think it was the linebacker or the safety.
Linebacker.
He won. He won the MVP. It wasn't Russell Wilson, but because Russell Wilson won and he was a winning quarterback, everybody gave him the props. And then he became an elite quarterback for a couple of years. And then obviously the turmoil started to happen and he thought he was better than he was. Now he went to the Broncos. Look what happened to him at the Broncos. Nobody on his team liked him. Now he's with Pittsburgh. How long is that going to last when they start losing? I mean, people are going to be screaming for Justin Fields. What I'm trying to get to here is we haven't heard that from Tua. Tua hasn't said anything. As a matter of fact, he's a churchgoer. He's one with God. I don't know if anybody's seen his tattoos on his body. I mean, it's Hawaiian, but he wears these tattoos for God. He tattooed his whole body for God. He's a delivering, born again Christian. How could you attack somebody like that? Who I've heard through many, many different people that Tua is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Nick Saban, who's a big prick, okay? I would say that, and I've never met Nick Saban, but I've seen enough on television of Nick Saban. The guy didn't want any of these players to make money. He didn't want to deal with the portals. That's why he stepped down from Alabama. That's why he left college football. It was never going, he was going and spending time with his family. That guy's a lifer. Bill Belichick is a lifer. He will be coaching till the day he's sitting in his doom. Okay? That's the facts. Nick Saban is not coaching anymore because he didn't like it. He didn't like the way the rules were working against the coaches. Coaches should be making $12 million and players shouldn't be making anything. It is a different game. If Nick Saban comes out and says that Tua is an elite quarterback, he is a guy you want to build your team around, why wouldn't you listen to Nick Saban? I think he's won how many championships, NCAA championships? I mean, I think he's won 5.
He's won 7 total, 5 with Alabama, I think 2 with LSU.
7 champion. He's the Bill Belichick of the NCAA. I mean, if he's saying it, I think he's somewhat right. I mean, I can't believe that you can't think that you can't win with Tua Tagovailoa. I can't. Now, do I think he's going to win? He's got to get through Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it's not going to be easy. Patrick Mahomes is the Tom Brady of this era. He is. It's going to be very, very hard to go through a player of that dominance. You got to knock off the beast before you become the hunter. Okay? And most of these quarterbacks are the hunted. And Aaron Rodgers, I've got news for you, buddy, because I'm a Jet fan. I got news for you. Until you get on the field and you beat Patrick Mahomes as a Jet, you are the hunted. You're not the hunter. And you're in the AFC, not in the NFC. It's a different game here. It's a different speed of game. So Jet fans, you can say whatever you want, and I'm a Jet fan. If you think this is going to be easy this year and the Jets are just going to go right through everybody, I still think they win 12 games this year. I think they're quite capable of doing it. It would worry me. It would worry me that what I hear on social media about what the Jet fans are saying about this team and how good this roster is, It always is a good roster in the last 2 or 3 years. And every single year, something bad happens to the roster. And the same thing with Miami. Miami is going into a season. They gave Tua a lot of money. They bring in Odell Beckham. They got all these weapons. I mean, this is as fast as any team we've ever seen. You have Odell, Waddle, Tyreek Hill as your wide receivers. Those are 3 of the fastest wide receivers in the NFL. Your running backs, Achan and what's his name? Mostert. Mostert had 18 touchdowns last year. Achan, before he got hurt, was so electrifying and so fun to watch. He's just an injury-prone player. That offense, and I didn't even mention their tight ends, that offense is ridiculous. They're going to put up big numbers. Tua's going to throw close to 5,000 yards this year. That's a fact. I didn't say he's going to throw 5,000. Said he's going to close.
He has to be protected. That offensive line is still a big question mark.
He is going to throw 4,600 yards this year. And about 1,600 is going to Tyreek. Maybe even more. So I just think going back to Brian Flores, I like Brian Flores. I think he deserves another chance. I think he deserves an opportunity again. I think the racist remarks over the last couple of years, and he had every right to say what he did.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
I'm speaking the truth. I do believe there are a lot of racist executives out there. As we all know what happened with John Gruden. John Gruden got thrown under the bus. John Gruden will never get a coaching job in the NFL again because of it. Brian Flores has every right to be upset. Every right. But you can't sit here and cry and whimper. You go out there like Brian Flores is doing, show that he can coach, show that he is quite capable of being a coach in the NFL, and somebody will give him a chance again.
And he's proving himself. Like, think about what he did last year, even with the Vikings. The Vikings defense was so bad against the pass in 2022 that even the Giants were able to throw 300 yards in the playoffs against them with that pitiful offense that they had outside of Saquon. That's how bad Minnesota's defense was. Minnesota didn't have a great defense last year, but it became respectable. And the Steelers the year before, too. They almost made the playoffs with one of the worst offenses in the league because of the way Brian Flores coached that defense. And Brian Flores, give him a lot of credit for changing the team culture with the Miami Dolphins at the time.
You know what I liked about Brian Flores? He always was sucking on a lollipop. Did anybody see that about Brian Flores? He was a really weird coach. Every time he was on the sidelines, there was a lollipop in his mouth. I was like, it was an everlasting lollipop. I mean, it was always in his mouth. Speedy, you know all about that, right?
I wonder who would win the competition. Brian Flores with a lollipop or Pete Carroll with his gum in his mouth?
That's because his breath stunk.
True. But
Marshawn Lynch said that. He said, yeah, Marshawn Lynch said that Pete Carroll used to chew gum because his breath always stunk.
maybe the two of them would go to Feud and create a Skittle-flavored gum. That would be the best of both worlds for both of them.
Well, I love Skittles. I have always loved Skittles. Bite-size. Speedy, you like bite-size stuff, right?
Okay, I like Skittles. Fish, what were you saying?
You know, bite-size candies. You like them small,
yes,
right?
They're Skittles, yes.
Small, like small things, right?
Okay, the size doesn't matter.
Size doesn't matter. Okay, we've got it.
Size doesn't matter. Fish, what were you saying?
Size doesn't matter. Size doesn't matter. I'm figuring it.
I was just going to say, maybe it's a simple thing, just like Brian Flores is from Brooklyn. He played linebacker at Boston College.
Yes, he did.
Blue collar, lunch pail type guy. And Tua's a West Coast surfer bro with like the laid back, just ball out, have fun, Hawaiian, Samoan, family oriented, everything. It's two very different cultures. And it could just be the two of them were just never going to work. Maybe it's as simple as that. It seems Flores was kind of taken aback by the comments. He didn't realize he did that much to him. Maybe he just, the way that he talks. I moved down to Florida. People didn't understand my sarcasm from, being up here in New York. It's just how I grew up, how we talk.
I don't know your sarcasm. Give me some of your sarcasm. I have to hear some of this. Give me some of it. Come on.
You're putting me on the spot. I mean, I've got.
Speedy, you have some sarcasm. Give me something.
Oh, the Eagles are the best team in the league. They're going to be amazing this season. Saquon's going to run for 2,000 yards, 4 touchdowns a game.
That's true. That's true.
None of their linemen are going to get hurt. They're the pictures of health. They're fantastic.
Well, that's coming from a Giant fan, so I guess that's sarcasm.
Yeah, there's no holes in that defense. The rookie D-backs, they're going to be all pros.
Speedy,
right
do you have
off
any
the
holes
bat.
in your underwear right now? I would hope not. You do have it in your socks. I noticed that with you.
Okay.
You have a lot of holes in your socks. You okay with that?
They're older, so that probably is.
Yeah. You don't care, right? Socks, holes, nothing. You like holes, right?
I don't care.
Dark holes?
I don't care.
I like dark holes.
Good for you.
Good for you. Good for me.
You.
Good for both of us.
It's good for both of us.
God, I'm sorry, Fish. You.
I think sometimes we don't realize it because there's a lot of X's and O's. There's highlight plays, football, and a lot of sports. And if you've ever played, it's a lot about the relationships you have with your staff, with your leaders on the team, and how that works. You see, like we just saw in hockey, Patrick Laine. He was supposed to be a big stud acquisition over there. They had to trade him for a bag of pucks and a second-round pick just to ship off his contract.
By the way, we never even mentioned that. Patrick Laine got traded to Montreal for nothing. What are the Islanders thinking? I mean, seriously, Laine was a guy that would have been perfect for the New York Islanders, and they gave up. Montreal gave nothing up for Patrick Laine. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what the hell is this? And the Islanders, that is, I'm not even, it's Lou. It's Lou. Clueless Lou. That's what I call him. Clueless Lou.
And for being as Ranger fan, we could also say that the John Davidson Columbus tenure is not going very well.
I mean, if nobody knows that name, and I don't want to hear any Islander fan, we do the Islander broadcast on 103.9, and I have every right to say his nickname for all the Islanders. I'm getting a hat made. Clueless Lou. Okay, the guy knows nothing about hockey anymore. He's lost. He has lost it. He's senile, and I don't want to hear about his son Chris taking over for the New York Islanders. Okay, that was enough hockey right now. We're not in the hockey season. I'm losing my mind now. I'm just clueless, Lou. When I saw that the other day, by the way, when you brought that up, I almost choked on the bone that I was chewing on at Miller's Ale House. Okay, I was enjoying my nice, sweaty, blue cheesed wing in my mouth, and I almost choked on it. Thank you, Speedy. Thank you. Sickens me. Clueless, Lou.
Love John Davidson, though. Goalie in the 70s for the Rangers. He was him and Sam Rosen. We talked is going to retire after the year. They were like the best combo together.
I'm working on something. I saw Ashley Sarge the other day. Ashley says to talk to him. He's very good friends with Sam Rosen. I want to see if we can get Sam Rosen on the show. So
that'd be amazing.
I'm going to talk to Ashley in the next couple of weeks. He told me that we could talk, and he's got some connections. So I would love to get Sammy on the show. So we'll work on it. That's something that I will really push for. Speedy, you like to push, right?
I will push for Sam Rosen.
But you like to push, right? It's a pushing feeling, right? When you really have to
metaphorically.
Metaphorically. I mean, when you have to go to the bathroom, you push, right?
That's physically, not metaphorical.
But what about physical? I mean, you have to push. I push.
They're two different things.
Well, have you ever had constipation?
Yes.
All right. So, do you push?
In that moment, I would, yeah. But it's nothing to do with that.
Could you imagine a woman giving birth, how much they have to push? Yeah. Okay, so it's like if you have like a little thing, peeking out of your rear end, I mean, how hard do you push?
Try. It depends on what I can do.
I mean, it depends on what I can do. Oh, constipation, you know what it is?
Yes.
Constipation, you know the other words? I'm not going to use it.
No, I don't know 90s guy slang. Good for you.
Good for you or good for me? You.
It's good for both.
It's good for everybody. It's good for me. It's good for you. It's good for that woman sitting on the other side of the street, with a shopping cart full of bottles. You hang out with them?
That's the soundboard.
When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, Tom Brady said some interesting things on Stephen A. Smith show. See, I'm trying to breathe through my mouth and I can't breathe through my nose. I can't even spit it out. Speedy, spit it out. Spit it out. Show me some phlegm.
What?
Are you going to spit some phlegm out? Spit it in your hands.
Ew.
Ew. What's disgusting about that? Everything? No, nothing. It's good. We're good. We're good, right? You want to pretend that we're smacking hands? Here, you could do that, right?
No.
Why? What's wrong with you? Because of why?
I'm not getting involved in that.
You don't want to get involved with anything. When we get back, Tom Brady said some interesting things on the Stephen A. Smith show, so we will get into that. And Daniel Jones' latest, very interesting story. So I know all the Daniel Jones haters are interested into hearing this, but we'll get into that. But first, our Sports Minute with Tommy Scoops.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute.
Are you ready to get loud?
With Tommy Scoops.
It is the top of the hour, and I am Tommy Scoops, bringing the Loudmouth Sports Minute and jumping into some more NFL. Judge refuses to order NFL to stop Sunday ticket price gouge. 3 weeks after the throwing out of a $4.7 billion verdict against the NFL, Judge Philip Gutierrez will not halt the NFL's Sunday ticket price increase. In other NFL news, the Jaguars announced that they are signing QB E.J. Perry. Perry, who has played for UFL's Michigan Panthers, will make his third stint with the Jaguars and likely to be the third-string quarterback behind Mac Jones. Lastly, over in college basketball, new Arkansas head coach John Calipari to make Kentucky return this season. After today, the schedule was released for the upcoming college season. Longtime coach Calipari will face former team February 1st. Going over now to Scoops of Scores. In the MLB right now, the Yankees and Guardians are currently still tied up at 3 apiece in the bottom of the 6th inning, while at the top of the 9th, the Diamondbacks have a 3-1 lead over the Marlins, and also at the top of the 9th, the Rockies as well have a 3-1 lead over the Nationals. Right now, the Blue Jays have a 10-2 lead over the Reds at the top of the 7th, with the Orioles having a 7-1 lead over the Mets at the bottom of the 6th. The Phillies and Braves are currently tied up at 1 apiece right now at the top of the 6th, while at the bottom of the 5th, the Brewers have a 2-0 lead over the Cardinals, and the Tigers are with a 1-0 lead over the Cubs. The Pirates currently have a 3-0 lead over the Rangers, and the Angels have a 1-0 lead over the Royals at the top of the 4th. That is currently all the time I have for you guys right now. I'm going to kick it back to the boys for the continuation of the Sports Loudmouth.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
Willie Boppers, Speedy! Willie Boppers! 631-672-3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the crazy and the craziness of the Sports Loudmouth. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy Petey. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me and Speedy Petey, every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out all our local listing for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're a betting man or woman, you got to do this. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Hit the Bovada link. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as long as you're not in the tri-state, you can actually double your money. How do you do it? Well, it's very simple. Hit the login or join in connect link on our website, and you get 100% on your first deposit. That means if you put $100 down, you get 200. 200, you get 400. 400, you get 600. 400, you get 800. 800, you get 1,600. My math is a little off today. I don't know. I'm a little lost. But guess what? If you bet on anything, including the presidential election, you can win even more money. You can withdraw from Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. They're the only ones on the market that you can use cryptos. No limitations on what state except the tri-state. You can't do it in Connecticut. You can't do it here in New York. You can't do it in New Jersey. For some reason, Bovada doesn't work here. That's because of Speedy and his smell. I don't know. He's scaring people away. All you have to do is click the link in or on our website. By the way, if you like Fanatic stuff, and by the way, shout out to Nithin hanging out over there, Fanatic without us. I'm not very happy with you, Nithin. I'm still not very happy. But guess what? We have Nithin joining us a little bit later in the show. So maybe I'll smack him around on the show. But you can do this. You hit our link on our website. You get 25% right off anything that you buy right now, including hats, jerseys, shirts, Speedy's underwear. If you want to get the same underwear Speedy wears, you can buy it on Fanatic. I'm sure it's not dirty. And ladies and gentlemen, you can also go to StubHub. Our link is right on our website. You get, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 15 to 20% off of obviously concerts and sports games. Go check it out. And you hit our link, you'll get a percentage off of whatever you want to buy when it comes to any one of these enjoyable concerts that you want to go see. If you like Billy Joel, Speedy, sing us some Billy Joel. Give us a little bit of a sound here. Give us a sound. Come on.
Sing us the song, yeah, the piano man.
All right, that's it. We're
That's
done.
what I figured.
That's good. I'm a little lost
Just
here.
a verse.
Yeah, it's a verse. It's about to scare people away. Nobody's going to want to see Billy Joel again. Anyways, that's Speedy. He had a chance to see Billy Joel. He also saw Train and
REO Speedwagon.
REO Speedwagon. Speedy, you like REO.
I did.
You did.
They were very good.
What was your favorite song?
My favorite live performance of that was actually the end roll with the changes. They actually did it at the end, which was very cool. The way they did it with it was very cool visual graphics as well. My favorite song of theirs is Can't Fight This Feeling. But in terms of the live performances, I would say
Could you give us
one,
the tune of that? I mean, you're probably better than Billy Joel on that one. Come on, give us the tune. The chorus. Give us the chorus, all right? Come on, let's go. Spit it out. You know the words. Are you all right?
roll with the changing. Roll with the changing.
You sound like you're constipated. What the hell's going on over there? I mean,
I love the sound effects.
Gotta pages.
Was that supposed to be a guitar riff, Speedy, or was that like the bass?
That was guitar.
Boy, oh boy! If that was
actually, it was part guitar and actually keyboards too. They did a little.
Oh yeah,
too.
Is that your keyboard sound?
Oh, that was the guitar. Fish is right. Good job, Fish. Fish understands.
Keith said Speedy sings like a cat. Oh, Speedy, you are one interesting fellow, man. You are interesting. Tom Brady said on the Stephen A. Smith show that it is a tragedy that rookie quarterbacks are playing so early before they are ready. He added that coaches have dumbed down the game of football so these rookies can succeed right away. He added that top college teams just caring about winning and money and not caring about developing players have hurt quarterbacks coming into the NFL. Brady previously said there are very few quarterbacks that are given complete control of their offenses in today's game. In the last 5 NFL drafts, 9 out of 16 quarterbacks drafted in the first round were week 1 starters. And Tom Brady said some interesting things today, too, about the top 5 quarterbacks. We will get into that in just 1 second. So did Peyton Manning, by the way. So I have my own thoughts to it. Tom Brady is not wrong. I think quarterbacks are rushed. I think quarterbacks over the last couple of years, if you're drafted in the first round, you're drafted in a very high position in the first or second round, you're probably going to start early in your career. They're not going to give you a time to develop. You're not going to get any time to develop because they need to see what you are and they need to develop you quicker because they're expected to win in a 3 to 4 year span. Remember, coaches don't last that long. We've seen coaches get fired in a year. I mean, Arizona's fired coaches in less than a year. Okay, so, and it's not, and I expect the Patriots, if the Patriots don't play well, Jared Mayo might not have a job. I believe that. You just traded Matthew Judon, your best defensive player, because you can't get along with him. And that had something to do with the coaching. So that's a problem. But Tom Brady isn't wrong. It is a tragedy that quarterbacks are playing so early and they're not ready. But again, this is the way the NFL works, is what have you done for me lately? Tom Brady got a chance to play behind Drew Bledsoe. He got to learn behind the highest paid quarterback at one time in the NFL. Remember, he got that $100 million contract by Robert Kraft before he, the Jets knocked him out of oblivion. I mean, I remember who knocked him out. I remember the game. And I remember that he was rushed to the hospital and he was bleeding internally because he had a broken ribs or whatever the hell he had. A smashed lung. And it was the Jets that brought that whole Tom Brady thing to the NFL. Yes, the New York Jets. Screwed the New York Jets. It's great. I mean, 7 championships and I want to throw the hell up. Tom Brady knows a little bit about quarterbacks. He does. I'm not gonna say that he doesn't. I think Tom Brady is one of the greatest quarterbacks of this era. I mean, everybody's gonna say he is because he's the GOAT. But guess what? I don't just look at championships. Championships have to do with teams. He was a part of great teams and one of the greatest coaches of all time. Maybe some people would say he is the greatest coach in NFL history. Peyton Manning did. Here's the thing. We have been speaking about quarterbacks all over this show today. I mean, seriously. And we've gone through even NBA, and we're trying to compare guys from the 90s to the new age. When you look at Steve Young, you look at Joe Montana, and you try to compare Joe Montana and Steve Young to Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. Can you compare them? No. And you know why you can't compare them? Two different eras. Tom Brady, his longevity, playing over 25 years in the NFL might never be passed. I don't think anybody's going to do that. It is an amazing feat. And say whatever you want. He has done things that we'll probably never see anybody do. Not at any position in any sport. Gordie Howe is the closest that I remember. Gordie Howe played, 30 years at the NHL? I mean, he wanted to play with his sons. I mean, he might be the only great player that I can remember that played that long and was dominant. Not as dominant as Tom Brady, but dominant. It's crazy when you look at these quarterbacks, these young quarterbacks like Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert. Then we talk about Zach Wilson. We talk about Trevor Lawrence. We talk about Justin Fields. We talk about all these other quarterbacks. We're trying to compare them. We're trying to figure out who's going to be good and who's not going to be good. Who's going to be the next elite quarterback? Who's not going to be the next elite quarterback? Who's going to be the next Tom Brady? Who's going to be the next Aaron Rodgers? Caleb Williams being one of them. We don't know what these guys are going to be. And I don't know if they should start right away. I think they should sit behind one of these veteran quarterbacks and learn the game, see the pace of the game. The game is a lot faster than it is in the NCAA. It is. It's a lot faster. Caleb Williams, he's not going to go out there and cry because if he cries, the player's going to smack him around. I mean, I saw him cry like 6 times last year to his mommy in the audience. That's not going to work in the NFL. You cry, what are the players going to do? You see a lineman see you cry, he's going to smack you in the head. That's not going to work in the NFL. You know this, Fish. As a coach, you teach him how to be tough. Players aren't as tough as Tom Brady was, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning. These guys played hurt. They played beaten up. Ben Roethlisberger, remember? I mean, Phillip Rivers played on a torn ACL in the playoffs. Are you going to ever see a quarterback do that? Not really. Because no NFL team's going to allow that because he's a franchise. He's making $50 million a year. Daniel Jones gets smacked in his behind. He's out for the season. Aaron Rodgers tweaks his Achilles. He's out for the season after 4 plays. Toughness. That's what you can't teach. Tom Brady didn't say anything about toughness. He says that young quarterbacks are not given a chance to succeed because they're starting and they're moving forward in their careers too early, and that the coaches aren't giving them a chance to understand the offense because the coaches are timed. If they can't develop these guys or they can't bring these guys up to speed quicker, they're not going to have a job. I mean, look at Caleb Williams right now. He is in a position. They gave him enough players around him. He's in a position that he could have 2 coaches in his first 2 years of his career. Just think about it. Eberflus should have been fired. After Justin Fields was traded for a 6th-round draft pick. He should not have his job. That team failed. He failed. They quit on him last year. But Chicago and the GM said, you know what? We'll give him another year. We'll give him another quarterback. We'll give him a better team. Watch how much that's going to fail. So you're going to go into another NFL season next year with a quarterback that just learned an offense that is going to probably have a new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, new special teams coach. new head coach, new quarterback coach. And this guy is the next up-and-coming superstar, up-and-coming Aaron Rodgers wannabe. How does this work? And he's right. Tom Brady is absolutely right. He's right. Because these players are rushed into the league because these owners, these guys, they want to win a Super Bowl. It's going to happen. How many first-round picks can we remember in the last 10 years ever succeeded? How many first-round picks actually won Super Bowls in the last 10 years? The answer? Speedy?
I believe it is 3.
3 out of 10 years. 3 out of 10 years of the NFL Super Bowl champions. 3 of them were first-round draft picks. If you would ask me, that's a failure. I'm looking for a quarterback in the 3rd round. I'm looking for a quarterback in the 4th round. Why? Because if they fell, I don't have to be blamed for it. And you know why? If they're drafted in the 3rd and 4th round, they don't start. They back up. They learn. Jordan Travis is in the perfect position to actually succeed Aaron Rodgers and Tyrod Taylor. Why? Because he's not going to play this year. He's probably not playing next year either. That's 2 years behind one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He doesn't have to rush. He learns the offense. He learns the speed of the game. And when he steps on an NFL field after being drafted in the 5th round, when he could have been a first-round draft pick, he's going to succeed. We'll finally have a quarterback here in New York that gets time to learn under the helm. That's the problem right now in the NFL. You are depending on young guys to succeed too early in their careers, and it puts too much pressure on them, and most of them fail.
Yeah, I think there's an interesting dilemma with what Brady is saying. I think he's right about the fact that in terms of the pre-snap reads, in terms of the 2nd and 3rd reads that you see, that's where I think quarterbacks have to be a lot more sophisticated in today's game because it's a faster game. It's a faster pace when it comes to it. Now, I don't think I wouldn't say dumbed down is a good terminology for the offense. I do think they're more complicated today, but I also think that they're much more reliant on motion and one quick read, that if your quarterback has the wrong timing of it, it's going to really break him. And I think that's where you're seeing a lot of these quarterbacks.
Come on, Speedy. They've dumbed down. He's right. They've dumbed down.
I don't think the offensive schemes, the offensive playbooks have
lock,
dumbed down.
fire, 6, point blank, whatever the calls. Maybe that's wrong because you got to memorize all these crazy friggin' sentences. I mean, I don't understand. Aaron, point, blue, Omaha, tick, toot, bulls, bull jumper. You know, I mean, these words, I don't understand them. You got to know them. I mean, that's the only thing that's dumbed down. I mean, but he's right. They dummy down these plays to make these kids understand the play calling. The switch, the audibles at the line of scrimmage. Are you doubting Tom Brady? Tom Brady's not a stupid man. I mean, the guy knows how to play the game. I mean, he's won a few Super Bowls. I think he's proven enough to know that he knows what he's talking about.
Well, yeah, the formation and motion concept, I think, is another thing, too, that a lot of these quarterbacks have not been able to adapt to as quickly because it's not as prevalent with the college game as much as it
I like
should
that
be.
word. That's the word of the day.
That's where you talk about Lincoln Riley being able to develop quarterbacks very well to play in the NFL at a high level, because Oklahoma and now USC have been ahead of the curve with that kind of thing. But that does not mean every college program has been in that. And Brady also mentioned as well, when he was at Michigan, like he was forced to kind of learn that thing on his own. And other quarterbacks today that don't have that kind of coaching to help them out right now, because he's right. Teams in the college football are now trying to do everything they can to win a national championship. They don't actually try to develop their quarterbacks. They don't care if they play like Georgia Stetson Bennett, because Stetson Bennett's never going to go anywhere in the NFL. They don't care because he's just going to win a national championship. He's going to do enough for that. And that doesn't help for the NFL game. And that's why you're seeing even some of these big name quarterbacks in college not do as well as the NFL. You mentioned Alabama. Where did Mac Jones go to the Patriots? How long is his career last?
Well, it had a lot to do with the situation that he was in. Did they give him any weapons to succeed? I mean, who did he throw to on that Patriot team?
No, I understand that.
I mean, look at Daniel Jones. This is my gripe with the New York Giants. The New York Giants have given Daniel Jones nothing. And the Giant fans, we're going to get into that in just 1 second, on my thoughts of what the Giants have done to Daniel Jones. They have completely thrown him to the wolves. The Giant fans, as soon as this guy fails this year, there's going to be boos. They're going to ask for Drew Lock on the football field. Who wants to see Drew Lock on a football field? They decided to part ways with Tyrod Taylor and let him go to the Jets. We're going to see how that works for the New York Giants. I mean, the Giant fans have been nothing but throwing this kid under the bus because the Giants screwed him. They screwed him. They took his best weapon and said, hey, you know what? We're not going to pay him. He's going to go to another NFC East team, and we're going to have to see him twice a year. Makes a lot of sense.
But again, you don't have a lot of those pro-style offenses in college football to be able to adjust to the NFL right away. And I think that's where you bring up the point with the coaching. Like, I think that also matters, too, to be able to cater to some of your quarterback strengths right away. Now, the quarterback still has to do it themselves, too. And I think there's a lot more concepts with the playbooks, with the motion in today's game. But at the same time, that's where Brady, I think, is right, where they have to do it at the right pace. Don't try to force them to just win games right away. Let them learn themselves and grow as a developmental process.
It's hard to say just how much is being dumbed down. I don't know if that's the right phrasing. For Brady, the way that he ran the offense, technically it was innovative, but it was kind of dumbing down the terminology and becoming more no huddle. What they did for a long time was they'd have route combinations on both sides of the field. There'd be some option route included either from the back or from one of the slot guys or both of them. But at the same time, it was just quick communications. You have, a smash concept. You have a crossing, some kind of mesh concept or sluggo or whatever it is they would make it very quick. Now, today, you see more, half field predetermined reads. You're counting up the secondary. Which side of the field do you want to go to? Brady played the whole field. Peyton Manning played the whole field. Guys like Hurts, guys like Richardson, these guys that are more college running style quarterbacks, even Mac Jones to an extent, they just did not have that experience running an offense that's more wide open. And I think when you saw Mac Jones get to a situation because he doesn't have the legs of those guys where he didn't know how to do it, he failed. And that's really what's going on. And I think Brady's talking about that, how there's a lot of these guys have to learn how to play the game at a higher level. It's like they're coming into the league with not enough experience to start, but you're drafting them in the first round like you're going to start them. And then you have to start them. And they don't know how to play the game. They only know the very basics, which got them by in college when you had better athletes than everybody at Alabama. But it's not going to work when everyone's on the same playing field and those guys aren't as open. And those routes are going to get covered faster. And you can't throw the flat late, as Daniel Jones realized this weekend. It's just basic stuff that you have to be able to know in the NFL that you just don't do, that you would expect guys to know coming into the league, or in Daniel Jones' case, after many years in the league.
Yeah, well, he can't stay healthy. That's the only problem with Daniel Jones. But, hey, the offensive line's just so bad. You draft Evan Neal in your top 7 picks, and the guy's not even going to make the roster. And if he does make the roster, what is he going to be? He's going to be a guard? I mean, you didn't draft him to be a guard. You drafted him to be your future right tackle to protect the other side of the ball from Thomas, who I think is arguably the second best lineman right now in the NFL. Tom Brady said something interesting on his top 5 quarterbacks today. And I want to get into it because there's a lot of interesting thoughts to it. He said that his number 1 quarterback right now in the NFL, it's not an argument, Patrick Mahomes. His number 2, Josh Allen. His number 3, Lamar Jackson. His number 4, Joe Burrow. His number 5, Aaron Rodgers. Here's why I'm going to attack this, because I have my own opinion towards it. To me, Patrick Mahomes right now, you can't argue. He's the best quarterback right now in the NFL until being knocked off. I think Joe Burrow is the second best quarterback right now in the NFL. When healthy, he is the second best quarterback in the league because he's the only one right now could say he has a winning record against Patrick Mahomes. As a matter of fact, he outplays Patrick Mahomes every time they play against one another. My third is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, when healthy, is one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL. I mean, his numbers, he didn't play last year, but the year before, was he not elite? I mean, he is, you can't argue this. And this is a guy, he's only won 1 Super Bowl. He still has it. He still has the ability to put up the numbers and be dominant. And I like Lamar Jackson, but is Lamar Jackson a winner? Is Josh Allen a winner? These guys haven't won anything. They haven't won anything. Joe Burrow played in a Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes has won a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers has won a Super Bowl. These two guys that are ahead of Aaron Rodgers, they've not won anything. Lamar Jackson went as far as he can going to an AFC title game. Let's see if Lamar Jackson can actually go to a Super Bowl. The guy, unfortunately, chokes in the playoffs. He made mistakes in the third quarter in that Super Bowl. And honestly, they should have won that game. They were better than Kansas City. All around, Baltimore was the best team in the AFC all season long. How do you lose against Kansas City? Well, you forced the ball into places that made no sense. And now listen, I'm not going to blame Lamar Jackson because it wasn't all his fault. The defense didn't show up in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, when they could have kept this team into the game, and Patrick Mahomes just cut him up. A lot of mistakes. But again, it's all about two halves. It's all about winning that one half. And I think the second half, when it comes to the playoffs, is all about it. You could be down 9-0. You could be down 14-0. Well, you could be down 27-3. Ask the Chargers what happened to them against Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars a couple of years ago. You need to succeed in the important parts of the game. And I disagree with Tom Brady. Now, this is all, by the way, shout out to Keith, because Keith actually sent me this. Whoa, almost knocked my mic over there. That's never happened before. Peyton Manning gave him his top 5 today as well. He had Patrick Mahomes, agree. Joe Burrow, agree. Justin Herbert, disagree. Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen. He was right from the first 2. That was it. It's surprising that Peyton Manning, over the years, has his thoughts to Aaron Rodgers. Okay, Peyton Manning obviously is not a big Aaron Rodgers fan, so I'm not gonna be surprised that he wouldn't put Aaron Rodgers in his top 5. I think Justin Herbert, you can argue. If you would look at this list right now, I would say Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow. I'll just take away Aaron Rodgers. The guys that he has on the list. Josh Allen would be number 3. Lamar Jackson, number 4. Justin Herbert, 5. That's where I would go with this. I cannot argue that the 2 first guys are not the 2 best guys right now in the NFL, because these are the 2 guys. Who would you want to watch? Would you want to watch Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, which they've had good games against one another? Or would you want to watch somebody that you know can knock off Patrick Mahomes, outplay Patrick Mahomes in Mile High, and outplay him in Cincinnati? So I listen, they're 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of this era. I can't argue with them. I'm trying not to. But it's hard to believe that they actually believe this. And again, Tom Brady is a big Aaron Rodgers fan. That's why he put him in the list. And Peyton Manning's not a big Aaron Rodgers fan, and that's why he didn't put him on the list. So it's all opinionated. It's all opinionated, because if you were to ask me right now, if I put the top quarterbacks right now in the NFL, I would put Patrick Mahomes. I'm trying to think right now off the head. Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers. Give me this. Let me look at the teams, and I'll tell you right now, because I got to look. And I look at dynamic guys, and not just because they didn't have good years last year or they can't stay healthy. I still look at the dynamic play and what they do. And give me 1 second. I want to bring up the teams right here so I can look at the rosters here. Right here, teams. All right. So I have Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers. This is hard, man. This is hard. I'm going to go off the hook because I think people are going to think I'm nuts. I'm going to put Dak Prescott in there.
Had a feeling.
I'm going to put him in. I don't care what anybody says. Dak Prescott in the last 5 years has been elite. He's not winning, okay? He's not a playoff player. But numbers would tell you he's elite. Josh Allen's there. So that's 4. That's 5. That's 5. I would say I would go this. And I know Lamar Jackson, everybody says, well, he's won 2 MVPs. That's fine. MVPs don't tell me everything. I would say Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott. I know, Carl, you don't want to hear that.
Carl
I know you don't want to hear that.
Replacement Dak hater for Jeff.
I don't really care. I mean, it's your opinion. I mean, that's my opinion. But I'm looking at numbers. And numbers would tell me that Dak Prescott is an elite quarterback in this league. And it's shame on anybody that doesn't think that. The guy was runner-up for MVP last year. And the fact that he didn't win and Lamar Jackson won, the only reason why Lamar Jackson wins the MVP is because he runs and he throws. He's dynamic. And he's getting, 900 yards. And he's throwing, 3,200 yards. And he's great because he has 800 yards run. I'm looking at a guy that is playing with one weapon, and that is it. Come on, guys. Who watches the Cowboys? That's fine, Keith. If that's your opinion, that's your opinion. I'm just speaking the truth. An MVP doesn't matter. I'm looking at the what Dak Prescott has done with nothing. Nothing. I'm just speaking the truth. And Josh Towers is in, but we're going to go to a quick break in just 1 second. I know everybody wants to argue that, and that's fine. You're not a Dak Prescott lover? That's fine. I don't care. And I'm not a Dak Prescott lover either. A matter of fact, I have my own thoughts to Dak. I think he's a losing quarterback in the playoffs. I just think that Dak deserves a little bit more credit than people give him. It's wrong. You could say whatever he wants. He does it on bad times, fourth quarters. I don't give a crap. You're going to tell me right now, and I'm going to bring up Dak Prescott's numbers right now, that he is not an elite quarterback right now. I'm going to bring it up right here. Hold on. Stats. And you guys can argue your points all you want and think that I'm crazy. Dak Prescott's numbers. All right. Here we go. This is a guy that has one weapon. Last year, he was 12-5, 69.5 completion percentage, 4,516 yards, 36 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. You're going to tell me, who does he have to throw to? Who is the other guy? Who's he throwing? Ferguson? He's got nobody. CeeDee Lamb. Hold on. The year before that, he didn't have a good season. And he came out and he said he threw 15 interceptions. Still threw 23 touchdowns. And he only threw 2,860 yards. He also got hurt that year. But the year before that, 4,449 yards. The year before that, now that was the year he got hurt, the 1,856, when his leg got bent back. But his numbers in 5 games, he threw almost 2,000 yards. He had 9 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. The year before that, 4,902 yards. He had almost 5,000 yards. You're going to tell me Dak Prescott is an elite quarterback? His rookie season, he was rookie of the year. 3,662 yards, 24 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. This guy hasn't had the weapons because the Cowboys overpay players. Guys like Zeke, who they bring back out of no man's land. That's the facts. I don't care what anybody says. You might think I'm wrong. Fine. Dak Prescott, to me, is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I put him 5. You want to argue that? Fine. Sell it to somebody that gives a shit. Excuse my language, but it's true. Anyways. I'm tired, man. Speedy, I'm breathing through my nose. I cannot breathe. I'm just letting everybody know this. I have a sinus infection. I'm on antibiotics. I'm on steroids. No, I'm not steroids, like juicing up. I mean, I know Josh is probably looking at me saying, what are you taking, man? Are you taking Deca? Are you taking something? I like that, but whatever. I'm not taking that kind of steroids, but I'm taking enough. But there's a lot of, There's a lot of like me breathing and trying to speak. But anyways, let's go to a quick break. We're going to get Josh Towers in. We have a lot more to get into after Josh, but we're very happy to have Josh. Josh is a friend of the show. We love Josh Towers. Oh, look at that. I'm liking that. What is that, Speedy? What is that? You read that, Speedy? Could you read that?
Josh is waiting. I will read stuff later.
Do you like to push it, Speedy?
I'll tell you on the break.
Anyways, when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we've had him on a couple of times. We love him. He's a wiffle ball star. He's a baseball player. He's everything, and we love him. We will be talking to former Orioles, Blue Jays, and Yankees pitcher, Mr. Josh Towers. But first, Tommy Scoops with our Sports Minute.
This is the Sports Loudmouth Sports Minute
Are you ready to get loud?
with Tommy Scoops.
Starting off this Sports Minute with some NFL news, the Saints running back Alvin Kamara returned to practice after missing this past week with back tightness. Alvin Kamara was a full go in today's practice. Switching over into some NBA, Lonzo Ball, who has recently been trying to make his attempted comeback to the NBA after not playing in January of 2021, was spotted playing 5-on-5 with fellow NBA stars Jaren Jackson Jr. and Daniel Gafford. Lastly, over in the MLB, the Giants announced that they are placing catcher Patrick Bailey on the injured list. Yesterday, the team revealed Bailey suffered an oblique strain and is headed to the 10-day injured list. Now it's time for Scoops Scores. We're over in the MLB. The Yankees and Guardians still have a 3-3 lead right now at the bottom of the 8th, while also in the bottom of the 8th, the Orioles have a 7-6 lead over the Mets. Still in the bottom of the 8th, the Phillies and Braves have the Braves have a 2-1 lead over the Phillies. At the top of the 8th, the Brewers have a 2-0 lead over the Cardinals. The Tigers currently have a 1-0 lead over the Cubs at the bottom of the 5th, while also at the bottom of the 7th, the Pirates have a 3-0 lead over the Rangers. The Angels currently have a 3-2 lead over the Royals, while the Red Sox have a 5-4 lead over the Astros at the end of the 4th inning. That's all the time I have for you guys right now. I'm going to kick it to the boys for the next guest on the Sports Loudmouth.
This is the Sports Loudmouth.
Slap that ass. Shave the ass, Speedy. Shave the ass. Spank it. Willy Whoppers, Speedy. Willy Whoppers. We love the Willy Whoppers, right, Speedy? 631 672 3108 is the number to call. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouth. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the week, including the Loudmouth with me and Speedy Petey, every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. All you have to do to tune in and check out our local listings for all our shows is go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy has been a part of our show for many, many times, and he's been a part of this show for many, many years, and we're very happy to have him. He's a very busy man, and we want to make sure we get enough out of him before he has to go and take care of other things that he has to do. We're now talking to former Orioles and Blue Jays Yankees pitcher Josh Towers. Josh, what's up, buddy?
Boys, what's going on, man? How are you?
You look good, man. You look healthy. I mean, you look even better than you did when you were on the baseball field.
Well, I'm definitely lighter, so I don't know if that's a good thing, but I appreciate it.
You got to stay away from those steroids.
Hey, what were you? I need to get on them. What were you saying? You were you making excuses for Dak losing?
No. I'm not making excuses for anything. I just said I think Dak is an elite quarterback in the NFL. If you look at his numbers, they're elite worthy.
But doesn't winning mean elite? Like with your argument, Patrick Holmes had no receivers last year. But they went on to win the Super Bowl again.
They had Travis Kelce. They had a good running game. They had a great defense.
They got CeeDee Lamb, who is all world.
Okay. Right? And what about Rice?
I think there's certain people that don't step up when it comes time, and I think he's one of them, man. And I think if you're going to be elite, there's more to the regular season. I mean, there's postseason, there's leading your guys. I think there's more to it. I mean, I get that his numbers and in fantasy we probably want him, but as far as a winner, I think that has to play into what makes somebody elite. I don't think he's there.
All right, so let me ask you a question right now, because you're talking about elite. Now we've mentioned 5 elite quarterbacks, and you could go with Tom Brady. Let's go through Tom Brady's elite quarterbacks. All right, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
All right, he's elite. Josh Allen, is he elite?
Yeah, he's pretty dang good.
But he hasn't won anything.
He hasn't. I think he's better than that.
Hold on.
Yeah, you're
Jackson,
good.
Lamar Jackson, did he win?
See, I was going to bring him up because I'm the biggest Ravens fan in the world, but
all right.
But and I I'm not making excuses, but like I can see why we haven't got past the hurdle yet. Because you saw it with Zay Flowers, right? In that postseason game that we lost, and was the first period he got a personal foul, like he did something. He does some stupid stuff, and then he's crying about it. And those two guys, especially Zay being a rookie, but they haven't got past the hurdle of I have to win. This game means everything. No, we don't have to do anything. And I always say this, man, you guys have heard me. If you want to know how to pitch the first inning of a postseason game, you need to know how to pitch the ninth inning of a regular season game. And so somehow in football, they got to get to a point where it doesn't like I have to. And they started forcing stuff, and we're down 3 scores, and he's trying to force touchdowns, and it's not how it goes. Like we have to trust stuff, and those kids haven't got past that yet. I can't make the same argument for Josh Allen. I think he's elite. I don't know why he hasn't got past the threshold, but I think Dak's still below those two.
I don't, because if you look at their numbers, they're very identical. All of them are very identical to one another. And by the way, if you really want to compare the numbers, I think in the playoffs, Dak has been more successful in the playoffs than Lamar Jackson has. So again, you can go now. Lamar played in the AFC title game last year. You want to give him credit? He did, and Dak never played in an NFC title game. But again, Dak is playing in the NFC where you have the Eagles, you have San Francisco. I mean, they're top heavy. And you're going to say, well, Lamar is also playing in probably the hardest division in football with Cincinnati there and Pittsburgh. So you could go back and forth. But to say that when you mention Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, they haven't won anything either. So Justin Herbert too. I mean, Peyton Manning puts Justin Herbert in his top 5. Justin Herbert, what did he do? He choked against Trevor Lawrence in the playoffs. Okay,
I don't know if I can put Herbert in the top 5.
I mean, then what are you going to do? You're going to put Matthew Stafford?
But,
I mean,
Aaron Rodgers has got to be in the top 5, right?
I mean,
is Aaron in the top 5?
I think
he has to show it probably this year, though.
I think he is. I think Aaron Rodgers is a top 5 player. Here's what I did. Mahomes, I put Burrow, even though Burrow hasn't won anything either, but he got to the Super Bowl. Aaron, yep. And then I put Josh Allen, and then I put Dak Prescott. And the only reason why I'm putting
I got to put Lamar above Dak. I can't make an argument for Dak in top 5, 6 or 7 probably, but I don't know if I can do it.
I just look at what Dak Prescott has done with nothing, and it's because of the salary cap. It's because
what about I mean, didn't he have like Amari Cooper at one point with CD with that other kid who was supposed to be good that couldn't catch anything? They've always had tight ends coming in and out. They've always had the
there. CD, if I remember, when CD was there with Amari Cooper, wasn't one of them? One or the other one was hurt at some point.
Who was the third wide receiver they had?
Gallup.
Oh God.
Who just had to retire.
Oh God.
Did he really?
Yeah, 28 years old. He had to retire.
God, what a quick career in the NFL, man.
Yeah, that's because Speedy breathed on him. That's what happened.
I never had any physical contact with Michael.
He had no physical contact with the football.
Well, Marshawn, I don't know if you know this story. Marshawn Lynch was on what was his name again? Show the tight end.
Jimmy Graham.
No. The tight end show. He was on with
Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp. He was on the Shannon Sharp show, and he was talking about Pete Carroll always chew gum. And I was listening to what he said. He said, "Well, Pete, the players gave him crap because every time he was on the sidelines and he didn't have gum, he said his breath stunk. So now you know why Pete Carroll always chew gum, because his breath always stunk. So maybe he doesn't brush his teeth."
Wow.
That's what Marshawn Lynch said.
Well, good on him for knowing and actually respecting it with gum, because there's some people walking around that don't realize they don't smell good, man.
Well, Speedy, Speedy doesn't smell good. I mean, he looks good today, but he, doesn't smell good, right, Speedy?
He's got his favorite stadium.
That was a matter of judgment.
Speedy, when was the last time you put cologne on?
I don't know.
Well, just give me a day.
I have no idea.
Years?
Oh my God.
Years?
I don't know.
Speedy, they got a dope ass store in New York that you can make your own cologne, dude. It's awesome.
I have no interest in that either.
Speedy's smell. We should call it Speedy's smell. Could you imagine smelling like?
Yeah, you can name it whatever you want. It's great.
Speedy's ass. Speedy's ass.
Hey,
shave the ass, Speedy.
Look at some lavender in there.
I would never be on board with that.
We are talking to former Orioles and Yankees pitcher Josh Towler.
I love it.
Oh man, we love you, Josh.
I love your shit.
You're doing some
big photo that you guys put up too.
that, man.
It's
You
one
look
of my
beautiful.
favorite.
You look sexy, man. I mean,
Nobody
Tony,
knows in that photo that you got on graphic that I was going after Tony Pena, not Alex.
it looked like you were constipated in that picture right there.
Well, I don't even know where you got this other stuff from. That's too good.
That's our executive producer, Mr. Aaron Fishman. He's our graphic designer. So thank you to Aaron doing his work. But let's get into some baseball conversation because we spoke a little bit about football. The Yankees. The Yankees right now have the best run differential in baseball right now. I do believe on paper, and I said it in the beginning of the year, I think this is the best team in baseball. Now, they're back and forth with the Orioles. They've had their problems with some of the good teams right now in the MLB. They won that losing streak when they got swept by the Mets throughout the season. I mean, they didn't look good, but now they made a move for Chaz Chisholm. He got hurt when he was.
You think they're better than Philadelphia?
Yes, I do. I do.
Yeah, I can't understand why Philadelphia at the deadline decided to gut their bullpen and bring in all new guys. I thought that was absolutely crazy. Seeing how to me the bullpen is the backbone to any winning team. But I don't think the Yankees are on that level. I mean, Aaron Judge is clearly the best player in baseball next to Shohei Ohtani. Soto's obviously really good. I think Jazz Chisholm is irrelevant. The only reason he's going to have any success in New York is because they have rules and he has to follow them, which I think is the only place he would found success. So I think they will get a little bit out of him, but I don't think the rest of it's good enough. And the pitchers are so inconsistent that I can't name them the best team in baseball, but this is the best chance they had to win a World Series in a very long time. And I think if there is a year they're going to win it, it better be this year.
So what about the Orioles? I mean, they had a lot of pitching injuries this year. Do you think they did enough at the deadline to alleviate? I know you've been critical of them in the past.
Well, I've been yelling all year. Like, you see the Padres, like, in March or whatever. I mean, it's like May. They went and got Luis Arraez. Perfect. And you guys got Corbin Burns in the offseason. Great. But we all know we need more than 5 starters. And you guys rushed John Means, and you let Bradish come back when he wasn't ready, and his mechanics were awful, man. So it was only going to lead to this anyways. Like, I don't know. I think the naked eye could see that. And so I've been yelling since like May, you got to go get a starter. You got to go get a starter. You got to go get a starter. And they wait till the deadline to get Eflin. So no, I don't think they did enough. And I think they're too young. Just like last year, we knew they were going to lose in the first round. They were not prepared for it. And their manager was just happy they made it. And I think it's the same thing. I don't think they're experienced enough to win in the postseason. And I don't think that he's willing to allow the guys to go do their job. And now you got more injuries to the starting rotation. I think the Orioles are the most talented and deepest organization as far as the minor leagues, but they're not even close to winning this year.
Josh,
American League's the Yankees.
Yeah, the team that I've been watching all season long that I've been so very impressed with is the Kansas City Royals. They have a bunch of young players that I really, really like. I think they have a good future. I think they're very well managed. I think they have the best catcher in baseball.
For sure.
What are your thoughts to this team, and why have they had so much success this year?
That I don't know. I mean, you get guys in your clubhouse that kind of take on a leadership role, and you kind of like follow them in a positive way. And Salvador Perez is obviously that guy, but I think Bobby Witt has done a phenomenal job of saying, I want to be a Royal forever, signing that contract. And he leads in a way on the field. Like Roy Halladay led in a way that we watched him. He wasn't verbal. It was, you just respected everything about his work ethic. And I kind of think Bobby might be the same thing. And then we know how good Salvador Perez is. I think Seth Lugo is underappreciated. I don't think that the world knows about Reagans enough, how good he is. And so, I mean, I thought that team would win the division this year, and they obviously still have a chance. I think they're 2.5 out right now. I'll say this. I don't think Houston, like the Yankees don't want to see Houston in the playoffs. I think that's the one team that's going to give them a lot of fits or a lot of trouble. Houston is like, they're just a veteran team, and they know how to not panic. And they started 12-24, and now they're winning this division by 5 games, and they're going to win.
They also like to hit garbage cans, so we do know that.
2 years ago, yeah. They can't do it no more. I think it's like taking steroids, and now your body's not on it. You got the.
Well, now they use Speedy's breath to scare people away.
So I don't know, man. Like, I think Houston's legit too, but I just, again, as awesome as Kansas City is, or Cleveland is, or who else, like it's the playoffs are a different beast, and you need veterans.
And so there's been a rumor about rule changes and like them challenging balls and strikes now is one of the things, obviously, with the pitch clock now. Like, as a former pitcher, like, what are your thoughts to that? Like, being able to challenge a location just right away.
Well, let's go. Give it to me. I wish I had it. That's all you'd see me do. That's all you'd see me do. Challenge. Let's go. I don't know. Like, it's tough, right? Like, who's gonna have the power to do it? Because you don't know how many times I'll throw a pitch and I'll be pissed off on the mound. I'll go in the dugout and I'll say to my catcher, "Where's that ball?" And he'll be like, "It's off." And I'm like, "No, it wasn't." And we'll argue. I'm adamant that it's a strike. He's adamant it's a ball. So like, who gets to be the one to call it, right? Like, is my ego gonna take over on the mound and I'm gonna call it, or is my catcher gonna like it? I don't know, man. I think that we're taking too much out of the umpire's hands, and I don't like that about the game.
We are talking to former Orioles, Blue Jays, and Yankees pitcher Josh Towers. Josh, the National League is still very wide open. I mean, everybody keeps thinking Philadelphia is the best team, but Milwaukee's had a pretty good year. Now Los Angeles has the best record in the National League, but they're in a division right now that I think have two very hot teams, San Diego, that are playing great baseball, and Arizona. Watch out for Arizona. We saw what they did last year. We saw them go to the World Series. I love their youth. I love their bullpen, and I love the talent that they have in the outfield. Well, who do you think is the cream of the crop right now?
It's tough, right? Like, the Dodgers are just always so good. And it's kind of like the Yankees when I was on the team. And I say this, and it's not like anything to me, but I was an 8-year vet and I was the 25th man on the roster, right? And it's not like we had like you can put me in any position, and I've been there to an extent before. And the Dodgers have that, right? I mean, they have a couple young guys, but for the most part, everybody has a little bit of experience and they know where to be and they're accountable. And it's why they continue to win, even with all these injuries. They're going to need to get healthy. Like, again, they're like what happened last year. Their pitching has to get healthy, and it's going to have to be reliable, and they're going to have to be able to go deep enough into the games in the postseason for them to win. But they're good enough on an everyday basis to where if another team makes mistakes, it's too many. Like, you make one or two mistakes against the Dodgers, it's too many. They don't really make mistakes. But when I start playing the Padres, who are playing phenomenal baseball, or Philadelphia, who's not going to make too many mistakes, or these other teams, which playoff teams are, can the Dodgers keep up in a 3 or 4 game set, right? So over 162, they are very good at beating up on the teams they need to beat up on. I mean, give them credit. They are 8 games above 500 with teams above a winning record, so it's nice. I still think Philadelphia is the best team. I've never had faith in Milwaukee. They always blow it. I mean, the way they play baseball, they always lose in the playoffs early. They do have a different manager, so maybe that does change something. I love what the Padres are doing. I mean, they're so good at knowing who they are right now and having a lot of fun. But that's all going to change, man. Jackson Merrill's a stud, but when push comes to shove and the pressure and your shirt's beating the postseason, I think it's not going to be there. And I think we saw Michael King last night. He's been great, but he's inconsistent as heck, and that stuff doesn't help either, right? So I don't know, man. I think when push comes to shove, it comes down to the Dodgers, the Philadelphia Phillies, and if the Braves have to fight at the end to get in, then they're going to be the most dangerous team.
So another rumor that came out last week, MLB potentially imposing a 6-inning minimum for starting pitchers. Obviously, if you do, unless you get hurt or you allow 4 more runs. So what are your thoughts to that? I guess you're pumping your arms like you like it.
No, I'm going to argue the other way. I always said my whole career, I gave interviews with this. I've always said it. If a starting pitcher doesn't go 7 innings, he didn't do his job. I used to tell John, I told you guys this before, I told John Gibbons all the time, Johnny, you pull me after 5 innings, I don't have to work out. I can go out and party all night. I don't have to do anything to go 5 innings. I can close my eyes and do it. It takes no physical effort, and there's nothing at stake. There's nothing on the line in 5 innings. There's nothing that has made me nervous or have to think twice. So I don't feel if a starter doesn't go 7 innings, I don't believe he did his job. And we have changed the game, and now I know that they think this is one reason why guys are getting hurt. There's a handful of reasons. This is definitely one of them, but there's a handful of reasons why these guys are getting hurt. So to implement one rule to try to prevent injuries, I think they're missing the boat, right? And so on one hand, as a starting pitcher, I love it because I'm going to make so much more money having to go a minimum of 6 innings. On the other hand, to force a manager or a team to let their starting pitchers go 6 innings is bullshit because you got to let these guys manage the game accordingly. I might have a stressful first. I might not pitch well against a certain guy. Our bullpen might be taxed, or I might have to pitch deeper just to save her. There's a million things that happen that factor into why I let a guy go or why I pull him. Dude, my starting pitch, it might be 2 hours and 30 minutes into the 5th inning, and he's been sitting for 45 minutes because we're hitting. He don't need to go back out. That's too long of a sit, and he hasn't ate for 5 hours. I don't need to put him back in the game, right? So there's a million reasons for us to say I'm going to implement a 6-inning rule that I think becomes too dangerous.
I know you got to go. So before we let you go, because you're a busy guy, you're a busy man, and we'll get you on a little bit. We'll get you on again very soon because, you know, you're a busy guy, man. I mean, you stop with the wiffle ball, okay? These wiffle ball tournaments and pickleball. Speedy likes pickleball, right?
No,
not the kind of
our friend Chris Gronkowski
but not
pickleball.
Oh, man, I can't do pickleball, bro.
Yeah.
These dudes that act like it's a professional sport and they're professional pickle. I'm like, bro, can you pick a lazier sport to act like you're good at?
Well, you know, Speedy's pickleball is not with rackets. You know what I mean? It's different. You know, it's a different game, right, Speedy?
Yeah, it's a pickle of trying to figure out your thoughts that go through your head sometimes.
Anyways, Josh, tell us what you're doing right now. I heard you've been doing some big things and helping many different people with their swing and some of, you know, some of the stuff that they're doing right now in the game.
That's where I'm at right now. I'm at the batting cages. Yeah, I do a ton of like personal and private lessons, whether it's obviously pitching and then hitting stuff as well. And then the younger kids all kind of implement if we got to work on some defense or something, but a lot of that. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm in the office at the cages where I spend most of my time. A lot of high school and college kids, and obviously some of the pro boys that are out doing their thing now. When they come home, we'll tighten some stuff up. So I got to make sure I keep track of those guys and know how to yell at them during the season and know what we got to clean up in the off season.
Well, Speedy has a tight ass, so maybe he needs to tighten something up. You know?
I don't know if those mechanics would apply.
Random sexual scenario.
Speedy, he's picking on you today, brother.
Oh, I pick on him all the time, but it's just part of the show. But we really appreciate the time, man. I know you're a busy guy, but I would love to get you on again. And maybe we'll come down there and check out your batting cages and what you're doing. I would love to do a live show over there. We've been talking to so many different people and so many people. They keep inviting us out, but we don't follow through with it. So maybe if you push us, maybe we'll fly out there. We'll hang out or play some pickleball, or, you know, Speedy can play pickleball with whatever.
We gotta try to get you boys to do the podcast from like South Point or Circa from the studio, man. It's awesome.
Let us do it, man. We'll come in there. We're live here in Long Island. We do 103.9 FM. We would love to come out and entertain some of the fans out there and some of the people. So just let us know, man. We'll come out there. I would love to come out there and entertain some of those Vegas boys. Right?
Great. Get some rowdy boys. Come on fight weekend. It's awesome.
All right, let us know. We'll be in touch. Josh Towers, ladies and gentlemen. We love you too, man. Josh Towers, fantastic personality, great things he's doing right now. Vegas, he does broadcasting, he does, batting cages, he's helping people, and he doesn't like pickleball. So there you go. He likes wiffle ball. He throws a lot of nasty curves. Speedy, you like nasty curves.
I don't know.
You have a nasty curve, right? You picked,
I
right?
don't.
No, somebody's got a nasty curve.
Thank you, Josh.
Later, boys.
Later, brother. Thank you, Josh. Josh, I love Josh.
Mm-hmm.
I love him. Speedy, you love him?
He's awesome.
Do you love yourself?
Sometimes.
Do you love anybody?
I will keep that confidence.
I mean, do you have feelings for anybody in this studio right now? Is it Tommy Scoops?
What?
Do you love Tommy?
As a person, yes, not the way you're thinking.
But when you look at Tommy, wow, that guy's sexy. Do you
No,
think
I don't care.
I'm not that judgmental.
I mean, he's attractive, right?
That's fine. I'm just.
Do you find him attractive?
It doesn't matter.
I'm just asking you. Do you find him attractive?
It's not
It's
relevant.
a yes or no question.
It's not relevant to the way I think about him.
But that's not the question. Do you find him attractive?
Okay, fine.
All right, there you go. Just spit it out, man. What do I have to, pull it out of you? I mean, you like to pull things out, right? I mean, I do. Every day. Every morning when I got to go take a, it's good. It feels good, right?
I don't know.
You've never woken up and said,
How would I know what your thing feels like?
Oh man, your brother and my sister are still here, right? They're still listening. They're enjoying themselves over there. And I enjoy everything. Speedy, you love everything, right?
If everyone loved everything, it wouldn't.
You like poutine cake?
What the hell is that?
Poutine pie.
Go share a poutine pie with The Rock.
There you go. I mean, you like poutine pie. I like poutine pie. You like chicken?
Yes, I like chicken.
What's your favorite part of the chicken?
Flavor. Selective amnesia.
Oh, there it is. Daniel Jones told Boomer Esiason today he didn't feel great when Hard Knocks revealed that the Giants were aggressively trying to bring in another quarterback in the draft. Jones also said he considered this another prove-it year, just like Brian Daboll's first season in 2022. Daboll said him and Jones still have a good relationship, and they talk every day since Hard Knocks. Fox Sports' Emmanuel Echo says that the Giants would be betraying fans and players if they started Daniel Jones. Tom Brady just also joked about it on Stephen A. Smith's show when he says Daniel Jones is the first quarterback he thinks of throwing an interception. Pro Football Focus John Costco says that Jones' accuracy rating was the worst in the NFL last year, at training camp and preseason this year. Jones was 11 for 18, 138 yards, 2 interceptions in the Giants' second preseason loss against the Texans. All right. I am not a Giant fan. I have 3 Giant fans in the studio right now. Well, one in, upstate, in, Fish. Speedy, you're a Giant fan. Scoops, you're a Giant fan. I mean, I'm going to tell you that the Giants have given Daniel Jones a disservice. This man lost his best player in the offseason because Joe Shane asked his son and his daughters what they think. Okay? That's your GM. Not mine. That's your GM. I think that right now, if I was Daniel Jones, I would feel not loved. If you go on social media right now, he's getting killed. Giant fans do not even want to see him on the field. They would rather watch Drew Lock or some guy who named Danny, Danny DeVito, or whatever his name is. I mean, by the way, he hangs out here in, Long Island, at the Hampton clubs. My friend tells me he's a big pain in the ass, by the way. He bounces out there in the Hamptons. He's one of the most annoying people you'll ever meet. I don't know what it is. But the Giants have given up on Daniel Jones. I feel bad for him. I really, really do. Because they never even gave him a chance to succeed. You give him Malik Neighbors this year. How long is this string going to be pulled before they decide, hey, you know what? Daniel Jones is done. Let's bring in Drew Lock. The season's going to end. Let's try to get one of these 2 quarterbacks that are going to be available in the first round this year, or maybe one that could be a first-round quarterback. Because I don't think there's a top 5 quarterback. I do not believe a quarterback is going to be drafted in the top 5, maybe not even in the top 10 in this coming draft in 2025. That's how bad this quarterback class is. That's why everybody wanted a quarterback this year. That's why there were more quarterbacks drafted in the first round than any NFL draft in history. The fact is, right now, Daboll is on a short string. Joe Shane is on a short string. The New York Giants are on a short string. Because anybody that watched Hard Knocks knows that John Mara is not a big fan of Joe Shane. Anybody that watched Hard Knocks would know that Mara did not want Saquon Barkley to go to the Eagles. So now you're sitting here today and you're watching Boomer Esiason and Greg Giannotti sit there and interview Daniel Jones. If I was Daniel Jones right now, I would have been just straight up honest saying, F this organization. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to do what I can to prove my worth and tell the Giant fans to stick it up their ass. That's what I would say. Because the truth is, I do that on the radio right now. I am not a quarterback in the NFL, but I'm a radio show host. Do I think I'm the best at what I do? I do. Can I prove it? I do it every single time. If I can't breathe, I'm on antibiotics, I'm on steroids, I'm on whatever. I'm out here, I do the best that I possibly can, and I make sure that I try to entertain people. If you hate me, love me, or you want to take it up the butt like Speedy does. I'm just speaking the truth. The fact is, Daniel Jones has been disrespected too much in the last 2 years. Has he stayed healthy? No. Is it a prove-it year? Yes. Did they pay him $40 million? Yes. Who paid him the $40 million? Joe Schoen, the same guy that was asking his kids who he should draft in the first round. The fact is, if it was a joke or not a joke, it made Joe Schoen look like an incompetent idiot. And right now, Tom Brady going out there and taking shots at Daniel Jones, shame on you, Tommy. Because I read what Keith was just saying. Who did Tom Brady play with? I don't know. There's a guy named Gronk, Julian Edelman, Randy Moss. I can go on and on and on and on and on. Who did Daniel Jones play with? I'm sorry. Let's go through it. A guy named Robinson who can't stay healthy. A Slayton kid who, I mean, people are trying to say he's an up-and-coming Odell Beckham, which is ridiculous. I mean, he hasn't had a number one quarterback since the day he stepped into the league.
Let's not forget a
wide receiver since the day he stepped in the league.
Let's not forget the 9th-ranked receiver on the Chiefs' depth chart right now, Kadarius Toney.
Oh, another guy. The human joystick, Jeff called him.
Oh, yeah, Jeff, your boy.
The human cock blower. That's what I call him. I mean, honestly, the fact is, the New York Giants, as an organization, are a laughingstock. They are becoming the New York Jets very quickly. And not because they've won 4 Super Bowls and the Jets have only won 1. It's because this is an organization that's very well respected around the league because they're the first 6 NFL teams. John Mara's father really put a good vibe in this organization before he stepped down and gave it to his son and passed away. But not only that, the organization took a chance on Eli Manning, and they had home runs. They took a chance on a guy that, they had to trade up for, traded Phillip Rivers and did all that stuff, and a lot of people questioning that move. Gave up a lot for it, too. And they were right. They made something right, and John Mara was praised for it. And now, with all the slacking of this organization and mistakes that this organization has made, and they've made a lot of them, let's be honest, they've made a lot of them. Now you're sitting here and they have to blame somebody. Let's blame somebody. And Giant fans, who do you want to blame? You want to blame Daniel Jones. That's what you want to do. So you know what? For all you Giant fans out there, I'm going to make a deal for you. He looks like crap right now in the preseason. He looks like garbage in the preseason. I'm going to make a bet that if Daniel Jones plays 15 games this year, Daniel Jones will throw 3,000 yards this year. Daniel Jones will run 750 yards. He will run in 5 to 6 touchdowns, and he will throw over 18 to 20 touchdowns. I think Daniel Jones is a lot better than people think that he is. It's a shame that he doesn't have enough weapons to prove himself. I don't think he has enough weapons still to prove himself. But I think he's going to prove himself enough to say that he is better than people think.
Yeah, there's definitely still some flaws in his game, obviously with the accuracy ratings.
Everybody has a flaw.
You're right. It's not all his fault though, because especially the 2021 season, I was talking to you, Fish, earlier about this. Like there was a lot of issues with the way the Giants were run with Joe Judge, and that has to start with coaching because Saquon was hurt for a lot of that season.
How many coaches has he had since he's come
and
into the league?
That's the other issue too. Like there's no stability. We were talking about it earlier with some of the rookie quarterbacks. Like there's no stability with that. And Joe Judge was the complete opposite of every stubborn, like he's the stubborn old school coach with all these new school coaches coming in, and it makes it hard for an offense to be able to grow that way. Now, obviously, Jones, in terms of a raw traits perspective, is probably still more closer to 20 than he is to 10. But again, at the same time, you also look at where the Giants are positioned right now. Like they didn't really have another choice to be able to do that kind of thing, unless you're going to trade a king's ransom to either a division rival of the Commanders or the Patriots, which I have a little bit of a grudge with.
They were never going to do that.
No, that seemed unrealistic.
It's so ridiculous.
It seemed unrealistic at the time because of those two states in the draft. Now, again, I don't know if it was necessarily what they were doing was as bad as what Atlanta did with Kirk Cousins and Penix and like not telling Kirk Cousins, and he got all pissed. But at the same time, like it's still not ideal to say not tell Daniel Jones until just recently, just after Hard Knocks, that we were thinking about doing this. Like it still does not look good for John Mara's perspective and Joe Shane's perspective. Brian Dable, I think, has done a good job with the support system of that, but still, like it can only go so far to be able to get the confidence back in for Daniel Jones.
I'm with you, Errol. I don't think Daniel Jones is all that bad. I watched that whole preseason game. Look, he had one of the worst interceptions you're ever going to see in a football game. It's something that if my JV quarterback, when I first started coaching, did it, I would have sat his ass down on the bench for the next quarter and talked to him about why you don't throw into the flat late. You have to know that. It's unbelievable that you would make that decision. And it was on a play action, which makes it even more unforgivable. He easily could have thrown that ball away. Anyway, he throws a pick. Wasn't a great shot, great throw. He needed to put it a little bit more behind Hyatt, but Hyatt really wasn't all that open. He could have got it to him, but it wasn't like Hyatt ran it like a great separation route. He then came back and threw a great bomb to Slayton and made a bunch of first downs. Neighbors is for real. That dude was making acrobatic catches. Dropped one that was a little easier. But, he was getting pulled by Stingley Jr. While he's doing, who's a very good corner. He was getting open on Stingley. This guy's for real. The offensive line gave up no pressures from Illuminor or Thomas. So I found out the new O-line coach, Carmen Brasillo, guess who he learned from?
I have no idea who he learned from.
Dante Scarnecchia. He's a disciple of Scarnecchia from the Patriots. Mm-hmm. And I'm as someone who coaches offensive line and has been around a lot of offensive line coaches who have no idea what they're talking about. I'm so happy that I got to learn from a couple of great coaches when I first started. And it's really about who shapes you as a coach and shows you how to do things. And he really had one of the better ones. And look at how quickly, even with a couple of backups, because Runyon didn't play, but even though he's supposed to be back in a day or two, they were able to be really solid on the line. So, look, if Daniel Jones makes mistakes, that's fine. But if at least fantasy-wise, I expect him to have a really good season. And I do think he's going to be a lot better than people are saying, mainly because he's going to have to throw because they're not going to run as much, let's face it, without Saquon.
All right, Tommy, what are your thoughts?
I'm just going to sort of say like more of the same in a way. I really don't get it. Like you were saying, Errol, Daniel Jones, if I'm Daniel Jones, you have the right to be dumbfounded, After already being heavily criticized coming into the league, just had a great season. I just had it pulled up over here. 3,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and 700 rushing yards. That's pretty decent stats with 7 rushing touchdowns.
That's Lamar Jackson stats.
Exactly. That's career highs right there, too. That's Lamar Jackson numbers in the running category, too. Then he has that great season. Boom. Signs this big deal. In the offseason, so many different people get moved around. You have Kinley moving around, including, of course, his best weapon, Saquon Barkley. You give him after all of that, you give him the sense that you're our guy. You're going to be our quarterback moving forward. Just for one draft time to come around, you got Shane axing his kids, who he should draft, trying to trade up for a quarterback, thinking about drafting for J.J. McCarthy and whatnot. That's going to have him think, okay, this team is using me as a Band-Aid for next year. Because, look at it in a way, though. If he does do bad this year, they'll be like, okay, great. If not, then it's going to be easier to move him. You could trade him for something, or even if they do decide to like release him, then they'll have like a less money and dead cap money. But this, in a way, I kind of want to say it's similar to the Matthew Stafford situation. You know, Calvin Johnson being I'm gonna ask you guys something. Other than Calvin Johnson being the only weapon for Matthew Stafford the 12 years he was there, what other weapon did he have there?
He had nobody.
Exactly. That's
Jones. Jones was okay. I mean, he was all right.
Not Calvin Johnson, elite though. I'm talking like Calvin Johnson.
No,
yeah,
he had good. He had okay running backs, and Matthew Stafford's Matthew Stafford's a Hall of Famer. So,
right.
I mean, just like Phillip Rivers.
Me in this sense, you know, I feel like that they could easily do Steve White. That was the first day I was on the show too.
That's right. Oh my god.
But
what a bad take by Steve.
But you know, Matthew Stafford going to the Rams, getting a competent team, competent coaching staffs. He wins the Super Bowl the first year. And I know, like you said, it's a lot different because we are talking about Matthew Stafford. He did show 12 years that he could play at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
But for the 5 years that Daniel Jones has been here, he's only had Saquon for those 5 years. And in a one playoff season where in the second half, that team didn't really play all that good. They kind of were losing, like they were kind of winning games.
Yep.
And they had a second half collapse. So to see Jones, it could very much be that, you know, he finds a more competent coaching staff or more competent coaching staff that has trust in him. And if he does go after next season, then he could be a better quarterback somewhere else.
I think he's going to get a shot. I do. If it's not with the Giants, it'll be with some other organization. And I think he's a starter in this league. All right, Nathan, let's bring him in. The old Nith, Mr. NR Hour himself. You know, you're clapping. I'm clapping for you too.
Oh, he's happy. J. Perry got on an NFL team again.
There it goes. I mean, you should reach out to her aunt, his uncle. I mean, his
who? EJ Perry signed with the Jaguars. Yep.
Yeah, there he goes. He's hanging out as the third string quarterback. I mean, seriously.
Sean, what do you call it? Tommy DeVito's agent posted it on his story. So,
Tommy DeVito, I heard, was the biggest pain in the ass in the Hamptons over the weekend. So,
first of all, Errol, Kyle, Fish, and then Tommy. Great job as always. Awesome show today. Great guest list today. I love.
Only one. It was one.
Oh, one. Okay.
Yeah, Jarrell.
Jarrell will be back on Thursday.
Yeah, he'll be joining Speed.
But still, awesome show and awesome guests. Keep it. I love. Thank you again for having me as always.
Did you just say aloha? I mean, what are we in Hawaii?
Huh?
Oh, I thought you said aloha.
No. I said keep up the great work, all of you guys. You guys are the best. So.
Oh, thank you. We think you're the best too, Neth.
Thank you.
I've lost my will to survive this whole night because I'm breathing through my mouth and I'm not breathing through my nose. Speedy, you know all about not breathing through your nose, right?
Sometimes.
Have you ever stuck your nose in, things that you shouldn't be sticking your nose in?
I don't know.
You don't remember? You don't know? Have you ever had your nose in anything?
Nothing that drastic.
No, nothing drastic. No. Oh, that's interesting. I think you have. You just don't remember.
No, I would remember if I was suffocating.
Why, do you suffocate?
Not deliberately.
Oh, Speedy, we love you, man. Oh, Cyrus. Oh, preach, my brothers. Oh, I don't know who Cyrus is, but hello, Cyrus. Anyways, all right, Speedy. Now, Nathan, I obviously you're a Cowboy fan.
Mm-hmm.
And you're a Dak Prescott guy, right?
Yeah.
And you like the scent of Cowboy fans all around the country, right? You know what it smells like?
Shit.
That's good. I mean, I don't know if it smells like that. I was thinking barbecue, not shit. But hey, if it smells like that, I mean, hey. Listen, Eagle fans.
As long as Jerry Jones is there, it's gonna smell like shit. And then once Jerry Jones leaves, it's gonna smell like golden. So
smell like golden? What's golden smell like? Speedy, what's golden smell like? I don't know. You don't know what golden smells like?
I have your mind for gold.
But what's it called? I heard a report today that they're having talks are progressing between CeeDee Lamb and the Cowboys, but I won't believe it until it happens because you got to pay this guy and you got to pay Parsons. Dak, I don't know about Dak. This is a make or break year for Dak, so he needs to step it up this year and see and show people what he can do with the Cowboys. But you need CeeDee Lamb back in order to have I mean, for Dak to have success, because that's his number one guy, and we don't know if he's not, if you don't sign him to a deal, I don't think he's going to play. But you got to sign him to a deal, and also Parsons, but mainly CeeDee Lamb, and to give that security blanket for Dak. But this is a make or break year for Dak. I can't give
Make
him
a break. I mean, what does he need to break? What does he need to do? I mean, what has he not done? It's not Dak Prescott's fault that this team hasn't won. I am tired of people blaming Dak Prescott.
I'm not blaming Dak Prescott.
How about this? How about the Cowboys actually show up? How about Micah Parsons show up in the playoffs and the second half of the season? He has a great 7 first or 8 games where he has 10 sacks in the first 7 or 8 games, and then the guy falls off. And by the way, Beef, I'm speaking to you because I know you're not listening. You're probably dreaming about the girls that you want to sleep with, or maybe the girls that you believe you're going to sleep with. I don't know what you're doing in your private life, but hey, if you're listening to the show, to think that Micah Parsons deserves the money over CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, shame on you. Because Micah Parsons has, to me, completely laid up a lousy goose egg in the playoffs. He is not the player he has been in the first 7-8 games. Go look at his numbers in the first 2 seasons of his career as an NFL player. Go look. I mean, honestly, if you look at what he has done as a player, he is nowhere close to the talent CeeDee Lamb is. And I'm sorry, I'm paying Dak Prescott over him. So he sits there and he says he was on a podcast recently. He said, hey, listen, if you're not going to give me this, trade me to Pittsburgh. Why would they do that? If they know that you want to go to Pittsburgh, what are they going to get out of it? Then if you know that's the only team that you want to go to, Pittsburgh doesn't have to give up much to get you, because teams are right now looking at you as you're an elite pass rusher and you're a guy that can get at the quarterback, just like Hassan Reddick, who, by the way, is sitting back and not collecting money and losing money right now as we speak. Micah Parsons needs to step into the light. Go up when? Oh, there you go. Moses, Speedy. You don't look like Moses anymore. You know who you look like? Who's the Rolling Stones lead singer? I mean, who was that? Mick Jagger. We're going to call you Jagger. He's Mick. All right, we'll call him Mick. You got the Mick Jagger look tonight, you know? Do you know any Rolling Stone songs?
I can't get no satisfaction.
Let's go, Speedy.
More legitimate Rose's DNA test.
Could you get any satisfaction over there, NR?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Let me bring up the Cowboys.
I'm waiting for it.
The Cowboys defense, their defense is gonna be great this year. I'm telling you right now. They're gonna take a big step forward. The defense. And
why? Tell me why.
If Carl Lawson's a big.
Are you seriously?
Jeff the legend, Carl Lawson.
Listen. If he stays healthy, he's gonna be a big force on the defense, and also Jordan Phillips. That's another good pickup. I like Jordan Phillips.
A good pickup. Yeah, I like him.
I like Jordan Phillips. I think he's going to solidify that defense. The Cowboys, I'm not worried about the defense. Defense will be fine. Last year, they did great. So this year, I feel confident in the defense. It's just the offense I'm concerned about. Who's going to be your starting running back? I mean, obviously, I guess Zeke will be your starter. I don't know. But who's going to be your starting running back? That's a big question still for the Cowboys.
It's going to be Zeke. They brought Zeke in there because it's Dak Prescott's butt buddy. And, somebody's got to lick his ass, and it might be Zeke. I mean, honestly, that's why they brought him in. And what are they paying him? $1 million, $1.5 million? What are they paying him? I mean, after paying him $16 million for 3 or 4 years in the highest paid running back, maybe Jerry realized that, you know what, he's paid him enough money. Maybe he should be licking Jerry's ass. I mean, $16 million a year. Somebody should be doing something to Jerry.
Let's just bring back Emmitt Smith back. He can play for us.
Emmitt Smith. What? I mean, that guy. I mean, he's got more gray hair than Speedy does on his ball sack. Speedy, am I lying?
Cannot confirm or deny.
Oh my God!
Sexual sin. You said smothering.
Oh, by the way, if anybody wants to check, if you want to check OnlyFans, fans only, Speedy has his up right now. You're going to need a Men in Black memory eraser. So,
Men in Black memory eraser.
ladies and gentlemen, we have some beautiful, sexy pictures of Speedy up right now. He looks sexy. I think he's got like 4,000 followers. Speedy, did you hear about that? Speedy?
No, because I don't care. I don't care.
Oh God.
Oh, Speedy, you are the greatest. You know that? You are the greatest, right?
Okay, whatever.
But what if you would you rate yourself an A or an A minus? What would you give yourself if I gave you a chance?
I give Speedy an A plus.
An A plus. Why? Why would you give him an A plus?
He's a legend. He's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT of this show.
He's the GOAT.
Speedy makes everything happen. He's one of the best in my opinion.
He's a vacuum cleaner, right? He's a vacuum cleaner. Speedy, you're a vacuum cleaner.
I don't know how that even makes sense.
Do you?
I'm not licking anyone.
Do you scarf things? Do you like to scarf things?
How is that?
You know what scarf means?
No, I don't. I didn't hang up in New York in the 90s as a teenie. All this 90s Long Island slang, I don't know.
You never scarfed anything?
No.
Do you know what scarf means?
No.
Do you know what eating means?
Again, a first grader knows what eating means.
How about chewing? Have you ever chewed on anything?
You have to.
Not necessarily. You can suck on something. Or swallow it.
Okay, odds are you'd probably die if you're trying to swallow something big.
Oh my God.
Oh. Well. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good lie right there, Speedy. You are the best, man. How are you feeling today? How are you feeling today?
I don't know.
You don't know how you're feeling?
No.
I know how you're feeling.
No, you don't.
I don't know how you're feeling, but I'm
No,
sitting
you
here.
don't.
So I'm lost. I'm
Correct.
lost. I'm completely lost.
Mhm.
I'm just in
100%.
another world. I'm in another world.
You
I'm
are.
on the other side of the world.
Yep.
I'm in the West. You're in the South, right?
Sure.
Why am I in the South?
Because you're in another world.
I just said I was in the West, so you're in another world.
Yeah, and you're trying to see it as West because you're in another world.
Well, West is, he's been on the show before, right?
You already forgot West was on the show.
Well, he wasn't on the show tonight, so now you're in the underworld.
It's evolution.
It is evolution. Speedy, listen, I have a question for you. This is very important to me. This is very important to the show. Are you ready for it?
Ask Nathan.
All right, I'm going to ask Nathan, and then you got to answer it. You ready?
Wait, what?
Is Nathan ready?
No, Nathan, are you ready for the question?
All right, yeah, throw it at me.
Good question, and then Speedy's got to answer it.
All right.
All right, Nathan. If you were to pick somebody on this panel right here who you can spend the day with
Oh my God.
and enjoy sexual thoughts about.
No, what?
I mean, you got to pick one.
Sexual scenario.
You got to pick one.
No,
You
I'm
gotta
not
pick-
picking anybody.
You have to pick one. It's very important. You got to pick one. Come on, man. It's just we're hanging out with the boys, and you're shooting the what, and you got a choice. There he goes. Bill, look at those. Look at those asses pop. I mean, seriously. Speedy, you like that ass, right? You don't like that ass? Which ass do you like, left or right?
Not that ass.
I'm gonna say I like the right because I think I have the badunkadunk right there. I mean it's bouncing. You like bouncing asses?
Clapping cheeks.
Clapping cheeks. I mean you like cheeks, Nathan. So all right, Speedy. Who do you got?
No, Nathan didn't answer yet.
Nathan, you got to give us an answer here, Nathan.
Man,
Fish.
can it be someone outside of this panel, or it has?
No, it's got to be on the panel. I mean, you got Scoops. I mean, he looks sexy. You could pull his hair. I mean,
Oh my God! No,
hold on. You got Fish. I mean, look at him. He looks like Adam Sandler-esque. I mean, seriously. And then you got Speedy. I mean, he's Mick Jagger wannabe.
I'm picking,
And he does like to play with the glory hole, right, Speedy?
Oh God!
No, you don't like glory holes? Why? What's wrong with the glory hole? What's wrong? You know what a glory hole is? I don't. Well, I'm just asking.
I don't care.
Are you lost?
Do you know what it is?
And then, well, I've always been lost. I've been lost in translation since the day I was born. When I popped out of my mom's cocoon, I was not even crying. I was barking. I was half dog. By the way, I'm not going to lick your ass. So I don't do that. You do like that, right? You've never had that?
Slap that ass.
I don't like it.
I'm just asking you, have you had it?
I remember.
I do remember it. So do the fans. Okay, so Nathan, you got to pick one.
I'm picking Brittany or Paige Sperano.
You can't do that. You got to pick one of the guys on the panel.
No.
I'm going to say I'm going to say Scoops. You know why? Because you like to pull hair.
No. I'm gonna. I don't know.
You got to pick one. Come on. Come on, man. Stop being the chicken. Just pick one.
I'm gonna go with Fish.
All right. Why would you pick Fish? I mean, his wife's watching right now, so I'm interested. I'm interested to hear this one.
I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know why you would pick Fish. You just pick Fish.
Yeah.
Is it his nose? Is it his mouth? Is it the sticky stuff sticking on Speedy's?
All right, Arrow, who would you pick, Arrow?
Oh, that's a good question. I could go in many different ways here. Yeah, that is a good question. Let's go to the full screen here, and I'll tell you why. All right. Here's the reason why. I'll go first with why I wouldn't pick this person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm going to be very honest with you. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say no to Speedy, and there's a reason why. Do you guys know why I wouldn't pick Speedy? Nathan, do you have one?
Huh?
Do you know why I wouldn't pick Speedy?
Why?
Because Speedy doesn't know how to use cologne. Speedy is he's a giant stench. Right? Speedy, you have a smell to you, a sweat smell.
Everyone has a smell.
Everybody's got a smell. What do you think you smell like?
I don't care.
Do you have a thought?
No,
I do. I think you smell like a dog half the time. So I wouldn't go with Speedy. All right. Now the other guy I wouldn't go with was you, Nathan, and there's a reason why I wouldn't go with you.
Why?
You're too small for me. You're like an Ewok. You're like an Ewok. I can't. I'd have to jump on somebody's back to be as you. So it wouldn't be you. Okay. Now the other guy would be Fish. I wouldn't go with Fish. Fish is 6'3", and I have a better chance of getting on my knees and giving him something. Tommy, I'd go with Tommy, and there's a reason why I would go with Tommy. Okay, because you got to play with hair, right? I get a full fist of hair, So there's my answer. All right. Who do you got now?
Well, I was going to go with Scoops originally, but he just went with you, so I'll give him a break. Nathan, you win.
Why would you go with Nathan? I got to hear this one.
Size.
Size of what?
Smallest.
Wait, what did he say? I couldn't hear.
You're the smallest of them.
You're the smallest of them.
You're the smallest of them.
What?
You're the smallest physical stature of them.
In many different ways, Neth.
What the?
How about girth or, what would you rather, Speedy? Girth or longness?
I don't know what any of that means.
But what'd you go with? Girth or longness?
I have no idea.
You got to pick one.
All right, longness.
Why?
I have no idea. I don't know what either of those mean.
Nathan, girth or longness?
Girth.
Oh, you like the girth. You like it thick. All right. How about you, Tommy? Girth or longness?
No, I can't plead the fifth on this one.
No, you can't plead the fifth. You got to give us an answer here.
I'll go with longness.
Where do you go with this one?
The answer is longness. Next question.
Arrow, you?
Well, with me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I'm going to go with both. So that's an A+ for me right there. Speedy, you like that, right? You don't care. Nobody cares, right? All right.
Nobody should, but they do.
Thickness is good. How about the Willy Wops? Who likes Willy Wops? Raise your
How
hand.
thick do you like the beef?
I do like the beef. The beef is my boy. Speedy, is he your boy?
Sure.
You like the beef?
Yeah.
Do you think if there was a person that you would compare the beef to, who would it be?
I don't know.
I mean, you've seen the beef. You know what he looks like. What would you think he looks like?
The guest we had on 2 weeks ago that I said looked like him.
Yeah, besides him. I mean, what kind of animal would you pick the beef as? I've got a good one. Besides the beef.
Beaver. Oh, I'm just joking.
No, you can't call him a beaver. You got to pick. You look at the beef. What kind of animal would you
How about
compare?
a seal? How about a seal?
A seal?
With that ball. It looks just like it.
I'm going to tell him. Speedy thinks you look like a seal.
We've got the aquatic similarity to a human body. Like, yeah. I think that fits. Like, he's pretty tall, bulky. Like,
I got to show you guys a video. I went to the zoo a couple of years ago with Brittany, and it's pretty funny. And there was the seals, and they would make these sounds, and I would pretend that it was my friend's family, and they would make these and it's me, Matt, it's your mom, and you see it, and she's laughing, and he's going around, and they're like patting and making these clapping sounds, and I'm like, oh, smack that ass, Matt, smack that ass, and people are looking, slap that ass, Speedy. Yeah, and it was so funny. It went perfectly with the sounds of that zoo. I got to show the video. I have the video. All right, Nithin, who does the beef look like?
I don't know. Have I seen him before?
You've met the beef. Come on.
He was at your party, right?
Yeah, you know the beef.
Hmm.
Come on, just pick an animal.
Okay. Hold on. A penguin.
A penguin?
Yeah.
Why a penguin?
I prefer.
I mean, you kind of look like a penguin. All right, Tommy, give me one.
An animal that beef looks like?
Beef looks like.
I've never met the beef, but
you see pictures of him. I think you have. Do we have a picture of him?
Okay, well,
Fish.
compared to
I
what
never
you-
got one.
I gotta send it to you.
But compared to what you've said about the beef, him being a Cowboys fan, I know everybody sees the memes and all the Instagram.
I'm gonna send this. I'm gonna send this whole thing to him. I can't wait till he sees this one.
Cowboys fans are usually aggressive after a playoff loss, which is quite often.
You like aggressiveness, right?
The aggressive animal I'm gonna pick.
Oh, I can't wait for this one.
Is a hippo.
A hippo?
Hippopotamus.
Wow, the beef, the hippo. Speedy, you know all about hippos, right? You don't like hippos?
I've never had an encounter with
one. You've never seen a hippo
in person. I've seen pictures of them.
You don't live with one?
What?
All right, Fish. Who do you got?
I've never seen the beef. You send me the picture?
I let me see if I can get a picture of the good old beef. The good old beef. But you can take a guess. Pick an animal. This is good. I've got one. I've got a good one.
I see like one of those like little scrunched like ferret faces in my head. You know what I mean? The real mousy type of deals.
Hold on. I'm gonna get a picture of him and his mom. This is a good picture of him. I love his mom. His mom's the sweetest thing. She's the sweetest thing since sliced bread. Hold on. Hold on. Elaine, I can hear you. Be quiet over there. Hold on. Let's go to Tommy. I'm going to put this in the group message over here. Is this all of us? Yeah, it is all of us. Here we go. There we are. I'm going to send you a nice picture of him and his mom. This is beautiful. All right, I want you guys to look at him, and he's got an interesting look to him. I mean, seriously. I mean,
wait, you sent it in this group chat? Which
no. It's I sent it to them in the group chat. I can't send it. Let me see if I can send it to you, Nith. Hold on. I mean,
I'm gonna amend my original statement of mousy ferret to
there we go, Ned.
Tuskless walrus.
I was thinking that too, actually, originally when I said seal. I was actually thinking of a walrus too.
A tuskless one.
You can't unsee it.
Walrus.
Wow, I actually do see it.
Walrus.
Walrus.
A tusk. Maybe they'll pop right out of his mouth. Speedy, you like that, right? What's your favorite animal, Speedy?
Dogs, I guess.
Why do you like dogs?
I've been around them my whole life, and
they've been around you, right?
Yeah.
In many different ways.
Okay.
In ways that you can't really talk about. So it's true. It's true.
All right.
All right. Look at it. Vashant says, I'm about a zebra. So Vashant likes zebras.
Or he thinks the beef looks like a zebra.
I don't think he looks like a zebra. You know what he looks like? He looks like kind of like a frog, you know? Look at his face. I mean, seriously. I mean, it's perfect. Ribbit, right? Speedy, you like frogs?
I do.
Have you ever kissed a frog? No. You never when you were a kid?
No!
Oh, see, Ewok fans over there.
Yankees are in the 12th inning.
Oh, 12th inning, and they're probably going to lose.
This is supposed to be Nathan. I just realized.
Huh?
Was this supposed to be Nathan?
This one? Oh.
I know you've been cloned, Nathan.
Nathan? That is Nathan. Nathan, that's you and your fam, right? All right. Before we let you go, Nith. All right. And I got a very good question for you.
Wait, why are you letting me go already?
I mean, because we're about to go, man.
Oh.
I mean, you could come back on Thursday. You're more than welcome to join us whenever you want. Because we're a part of the same team. We are. We're all a part.
By the way, Ron Harper is coming to Woodbridge.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Ron Harper.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, he was an underrated defensive player for the Chicago Bulls.
Yep.
I thought Ron Harper was a great player. All right, so Neff, who do you have going to the Super Bowl this year? Let's hear it. And why? Don't say the Cowboys.
I'm not gonna say the Cowboys because,
right,
like I said, they smell like shit right now. So
they smell like shit. They look like shit, so they're shit, right?
I'm picking the Chiefs until someone beats them in the AFC. So I'm taking the Chiefs in the AFC. And then NFC.
Don't say San Francisco.
No, NFC. I'm saying Detroit. I feel like Detroit is. We covered New York Giants training camp this year, so we had our first look with the Detroit Lions during joint practice. They look unbelievable. They're loaded, talented. Aiden Hutchinson looks like he's on a mission this year. That defense is going to be great, and obviously Jared Goff looks good. Dan Campbell, a great fit for that team, obviously. So I'm going to say Detroit and Kansas City, and I'm going to say Detroit wins the Super Bowl.
Are you coming out September 5th?
Yes, I'm planning on to.
Oh, this is going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of fun with Neff, and Speedy's going to start spraying himself with some cologne, right? I got some new cologne for you. What do you like? You like berries, cherries? You like that man musk smell? What do you like?
What the hell is that?
You don't like the man musk?
I don't know what the hell it is.
Actually, I'm picking Detroit, but don't be surprised if Kansas City gets that three-peat.
Kansas City? I think Kansas City is not going to get the three. They're not even coming out of the AFC.
You don't think so?
Nope. I do not. And I'll tell you why on September 5th, because we will go over that. And Speedy is very excited about this. He has been very excited to show something that he's never shown in the public eye, right, Speedy?
And also we got Ron Guidry coming to the Miller Ale House September 7th.
Oh, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Maybe we should come. Speedy?
Yeah.
You want to go and meet Ron Guidry?
September 7th. Miller's
Guidry fan, Speedy?
Miller's Ale House.
The Jersey one, Nathan?
Yeah, Morris Plains.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we should all go.
Yes, Tommy, Fish, whoever's in town, come see Ron Guidry, or if you want to see Ron Harper and Woodbridge, and They're about to announce something new soon. So
some new stuff, Speedy. Allen Iverson was there.
yeah, I think a former Met. They're supposed to announce pretty soon another one.
I'm excited.
I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
Don't
hand Santana. Oh,
no. He played in the infield.
The inner field.
No, infield.
Vizcaíno.
Nope.
Bonilla.
Nope.
Bobbio took it up the butt.
No.
Mike Piazza.
Nope.
Ray Ordonez.
Nope. Come
John
on.
Olerud.
Number. I don't want to give it away. I can't say the jersey number.
All right, I'm just gonna say John Oli Balls.
No.
Luis Castillo.
Nope.
Oh, Alex Rodriguez loves him.
The only person that hates Alex Rodriguez is Jose Canseco. Just remember that.
Well, I bet you there's a lot of people that hate Jose Canseco. So, anyways, Nith, we love you.
But they'll when they post a flyer, I'll send it to you guys. So
Nith, come on Thursday, man.
Yeah,
we love you.
Thank you guys. You guys are the best. Keep it up. Keep up the great work.
Could you do a dance if Speedy put on a song? Could you show us a little bit of that Nith, jigga?
Like
Come on. Come on, hold on, Speedy. You
don't play any music.
No music on? What do you like? Indian music? What do you like? I'm just, man, look at Speedy. I mean, he sang. Speedy, you want to give us another song?
Oh, yeah, sing. Speedy, sing. I missed that.
What do you want him to sing? You got to give him a song.
Sing. Oh, what's it called? Sing Kendrick Lamar, Nothing Like Us.
He doesn't know that. How do you sing that?
Nothing Like Us?
It's not like us.
I mean, not like us. Sorry, there you go. No,
Yeah,
actually,
like
sing.
You got to give him an old song. Give me an 80s song.
Speedy, what's
John Bon Jovi, Living Like a Prayer.
Yeah, let's do
We
that.
gotta hold on to what we got. It doesn't even matter if you make it or not. We got each other, and that's a lot for love. We'll give it a shot.
Woo!
Oh, we're halfway there. Oops, living on a prayer.
Take me hands and
we'll make it, I swear. Oh,
all right, I'm done. I'm
lifting on a prayer.
Nithing on a prayer. I like that. Nithing, you're on a prayer. You like that, Nith? What do you think? What would you grade that?
Huh?
I think my boobs grabbing was a little bit. It gives it a little bit higher of a grade. What do you think, Nith? What you gotta think about this? I mean, I think I'm a little lost myself. I mean, seriously. Jose Reyes, how's that?
Wait,
Jose Reyes.
Men in Black memory.
No, hold on. Nope. I'll give you more guesses. Hold on.
No more.
Jose Valentin.
No. How are you guys not? Hold on.
Carlos Delgado.
I give up. All right, Nithin. It's okay. You don't
Lucas
have to
Duda.
No.
Lucas Duda. Who the hell wants to meet him?
You guys are forgetting. How are you guys forgetting
Todd Pratt?
No.
Who?
Come on, man.
Dystrom?
Should I just say it?
Just say it and spit it out already. We gotta go.
David Wright.
Oh God.
Oh wow.
You want to meet Captain America?
He is. They haven't. They're making people guess, but I already know who it is. But they're making people guess. But it's Saturday, September 14th, from 12 to 2. It's a live Q&A and a photo op.
Oh, good. Who's doing the Q&A?
David Wright. Oh, you mean hosting?
Who's asking the questions? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know who is. I think
Is he
someone
good?
they have someone already there. But
Oh, screw them. They could have asked us. I'm upset at them now. I don't know if I want to go and see.
but the ticket prices for the fans is $199, almost $200 for David Wright.
Why the hell do I want to meet David Wright? Only if he signs Speedy's balls. What do you think, Speedy? You don't want him to sign your balls? Why?
I don't want ink on my balls.
Well, he has to find him first, right? Irrelevant. Anyways, Nith, we really appreciate you
All
as
right,
always.
thank you guys.
We love you, man.
See you guys.
Nithin, we love him. He's fantastic. It is great. I love Nithin because he fits this party we have at the end of the show, Speedy. You like Nithin, right?
I do.
Do you hate anybody? Tonight, are you upset at anybody?
I don't know.
You're upset at me?
I don't.
Do you hate me?
No, I don't hate you.
Do you hate anybody?
I don't know.
So you don't know if you hate anybody. You don't know if you don't like anybody. You just you just don't care, right? Yeah, just life sucks, right? Life sucks.
Lately.
Lately. What sucks for you lately?
Well, let's see. A month ago, I was a victim of fraud. Then I had an issue with computers. I finally got a fixed issue with the credit card, and I've been trying to learn a bunch of new random computer programs that love to glitch on me. Oh yeah,
we love you, Speedy. You're just you're a talent, and you're a prize to this show, and a prize to everybody. I mean, just everything about you just is a prize. I mean, when the women get to know your prize, they're gonna love the way you look. I mean, you are a sexy SOB, just so you know. Anyways, thank you to the fans. Thank you to Josh Towers for joining us. Unfortunately, Jarrell Worthy could not join us. He'll be here Thursday. Oh, what the hell was that?
I did not mean to hit my mic.
Oh, there you go. I mean, that scared the shit out of me.
That scared me.
That made me jump out of my pants. I mean, I'm sure Keith loved that, right? Oh, there it is. That's a great picture. That's a great picture. You like that? Yeah, you do look sexy with long hair. You do. I think we need to grow your hair out. Okay. All right. So Speedy's going to grow his hair out. We'll keep it. We'll keep the Fu Manchu. Sure. All right. Anyways, thank you to all the fans that tune in to us and deal with us for a long time. But we really appreciate everybody. Thank you to all the different followers, to all of the social media markets and all the stuff that we post up. And again, I hope everybody gets entertained from us. I do think that we're a very unique individual. We're very unique individuals, and we have a very unique show. And the content that we put out there is I think one of the best in on any media market. So again, thank you to all the fans. Thank you to all the guests that join us every single week and give us the time. Thank you to Fish for executive producing our show, giving us the great graphics and giving us the content. Thank you to Scoops for giving us the content, the Sports Minute. And Speedy, thank you for being you. I mean, seriously, everything about you. Why do you look so depressed? Are you okay? You need a kiss? Do you need something? You want a lick? Somebody to lick you? What? I'm just saying.
I don't want anyone's saliva.
You don't want anybody's saliva. Okay, so Speedy doesn't want to be licked. Are you okay? Are you good? You feeling good? I don't know. You happy? I don't know. You're not happy?
I don't know.
You don't know if you're happy. So you're sad. You're mad? He doesn't know. He doesn't know what he is. All right. He doesn't know. So for all the fans that doesn't want to know or hasn't known or just doesn't know, just listen to Speedy. Follow him on social media. Anyways, thank you again. We will be back on Thursday. Who do we have on, Speedy?
So Jarrell Worthy will be on at 8:30, and then also at 8 o'clock, our Hall of Fame basketball guy, Tim Hardaway, will be back on with us.
Oh, Timmy. Timmy Touch, we call him. Speedy, you like to touch? You like Timmy Touch?
I like him. I never heard that nickname.
You've never heard of Timmy Touch?
I never heard that nickname.
Well, I'm going to tell Timmy that we're going to touch. He's got the touch.
Okay.
All right.
You can tell him.
We could do it together. Timmy
You
Touch.
can tell him. You have a voice.
We'll do it together.
You have a voice.
I'm the voice of Timmy Touch.
You have a voice.
Timmy Touch.
What's stopping
Timmy.
you from doing it?
I don't know what's stopping me. Oh, man. Anyways, thank you to the fans. We'll be back on Thursday. Good night.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.